Hey y'all, welcome to For the Fans Entertainment, where today we are going to be talking about the long-awaited cast of Survivor Season 42, which is premiering in just a few days. So we are going to go through each of the contestants, break it down, talk about them, how we think they're going to do, and then of course at the end we're going to wrap it up with a little bit of a draft. Right now, at this exact moment, we're joined by Frank, Trisha, and Robbie. So how's everyone doing? Trisha, it's been a long time. You want to reintroduce yourself to the people?
I know, like, who even am I right now? Well, I got a sunburn today because I've been at baseball and pretty much I've just been momming my whole life. So sorry I have been MIA, but I am so excited for this season of Survivor. We're coming out of Winners at War and back to an all new season. Not are we? Aren't we?
41.
41. Drop
Did
the
I say
4, keep the
42?
1.
Did I say 42?
This is 42.
This
Oh,
is
Missed
42.
No big
I
deal.
said
Winners
41.
at War. We had a season between Winners at War.
Oh yeah, Xander was on there. See, y'all, I'm really spaced out.
Yeah, she missed all of that.
Yeah, so I've just been really busy, obviously.
Man, and I just told you I wasn't going to pick on you tonight, like right before we went live. Gotta take that back.
To be fair, all of the castaways in this season are coming in right after Winners at War. So,
True.
I mean, hey, if we're focusing
That's
on
what I
these
meant.
people, you're pretty accurate.
That's what I meant, Robbie.
Yeah. Bless her heart. Just bless it. All right. So we've got this beautiful PowerPoint assembled from yours truly. And we're going to go through each of the castaways by tribe. So let's just take a look here at our whole cast of Survivor 42. Anybody jump out to you just looking at this group?
I should let the audience know that I have not looked at this cast at all, and this is a complete raw reaction. And there should be no surprise that I'm doing this.
I love that.
I think,
that most of
I
the
mean,
time.
if you're looking at it, if you're looking at this photo and John doesn't stand out as just either really enormous or everybody else is really short,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing that I'm seeing.
I
So
feel like
John
it's
is
both.
the Jason Momoa in the back, right there in the center. That's John.
That's Jonathan.
Oh yeah, sorry, I call him John as if I know
John,
the guy.
as we like to call him here.
Yeah, Jay,
John
my good buddy Jay on this season. Yeah, you guys can call him Jonathan, but yeah.
All right, so we have our three tribes. Obviously, until we see the show Wednesday night, we don't know 100% how to say these, but we've got the Ika,
That's the Ika Wong.
and the Vati tribe is what we're going to go with. But we may also call them different names because that's also fun. So let's take a look at the Ika tribe first. And our very first person is Roxroy Bailey. Roxroy is 44 from Brooklyn, currently residing in Vegas, and he is a stay-at-home dad. So what are your thoughts on Roxroy, Robbie?
Living the dream.
I think the biggest thing that I noticed right away is we saw this similar casting last season where there was one person per tribe that was the muscle, you could say. A lot of people that were in shape, but one that was the biggest of their tribe, and Roxroy is this. And for the Ika tribe, Ika tribe, sorry, I already did it. For the Ika tribe, when there's only 6 people, we're divided into 3 tribes. Being the muscle is a huge advantage, in my opinion, because it's going to be really hard for the tribe, even if they lose the first challenge, to say, okay, let's get rid of the biggest, strongest guy or person, in the first tribal council. So I think that's a big advantage. And he wants to be a provider, and he mentioned that quite a few times. If you look at the press he's put out so far, he's got amazing charisma, and I think that's going to at least help him through to merge. But you see with the folks that have quite a physique, a lot of times they get a target for that. But I think he's going to be all right, at least a little bit in the game.
Yeah, so obviously, like looking at him, you can't help but draw a little bit of the comparison to Abraham, who we saw go out first from the Yellow Tribe last season. So, like, yes, Roxroy brings that muscle, but Abraham did too. And
I think he's got younger vibes though. I think
Well, I
he's
think he has
44, but I
younger
think
vibes
yeah.
and also more laid back than Abraham. But you can't help but physically make that comparison. I mean,
Fair, but Yasa
and-
had muscle to spare, right? Yasa had muscle
Yeah.
to spare. And when I look at this, I mean, maybe
Can you go back to the tribe picture
yeah.
where it's broke down on 3 tribes? Because I kind of feel like I don't know if he is going to be the muscle. It's so small I can't really see on my screen, but on his tribe, the bottom right.
That's what I said, Drea. That's what I was just saying. I think maybe Drea steps up.
I think that's the
well.
muscle on the tribe.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, once again, it's hard. Like I said, you don't have Xander, you don't have Voce, the other people that are around to carry the weight literally. So
yeah,
we'll find out.
I think with Roxroy, I think what he is going to be able to do is I think he's going to be able to find a strong female and be that doctor-nurse relationship. I think that he'll kind of be like, because I think I think his wife is probably really successful and goal-oriented, and I think he's a stay-at-home dad because that's what works for their family, and more power to that. I think that's awesome. So I think he will do well with females. I don't think he's going to be too aggressive or assertive. I think he's going to have that easygoing personality. I think he'll do good.
Trisha, what are your thoughts on Ole Roxroy here?
I definitely don't think he goes first. But my biggest question with him is, are we calling him Roxroy all season, or do we just go straight to Rox?
Yeah, we're going to Rox.
What about Roy?
I think we cut off Roy. He gives
it's rocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rox.
Like, let's give him Rox vibes. And I think just by this cast photo, he looks so fun. And when you're on these tribes, like, having a connection with someone can mean a lot. And if he has a good social game, even though he may be needy, I think that could be good, especially if he's a provider. We saw Nasir go very far last season. And see, I actually do remember things from last season. We saw Nasir go far just because people wanted to eat. And if I'm on Survivor, I promise y'all that I'm keeping the person that is feeding me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Roxroy has the fact, I mean, being a stay-at-home dad and in that contrast to like Abraham last season where he was like ex-military, a stay-at-home dad, like he's going to be chill. I think he's going to just be really easy to relate to. I think that if he can make it through probably like the first couple votes, because I mean, older people do tend to get targeted earlier. If he can make it through the first couple of votes, I think that he kind of has a chance. So who do y'all think he chose as the Survivor player he most identifies with?
I'm not guessing because it's literature.
They say so many different things in those interviews.
Yeah, so he chose John Cochran.
Ugh. That's not who I would have guessed. I'm just going to say that. I would have never guessed Cochran.
That's really interesting, though, because maybe that just means that he's really, I don't know, like insightful might not be the right word, but analyzes all of the scenario objectively, right? Which is, I feel like John Cochran could do. Like I think Cochran knew where he was in a tribe. He knew where everybody else was in a tribe, and maybe that's what he's referring to. I'm not sure, but it's hard because when you watch Rox, I will keep calling him Roxroy.
Let's call him Rox.
Yeah, when you watch Rox do his his media, I don't get those vibes at all. I don't get the Cochran vibes at all.
Yeah.
But
Kevin, what are your thoughts on Roxroy?
What's up, guys? Give me a second. Let me pull up Roxroy.
Go back to the PowerPoint, Kylie. Do
Okay,
Kevin a solid, please.
Let me pull it
Don't
back
just throw him
up
to the
here.
wolves.
And another thing that he said in some of his press is that he, if he's working with somebody and they decide, hey, I'm going to go in a different direction, he just wants a heads up. Like, just tell me. I'll be cool with it.
They all say that.
So, I mean,
Nobody's cool with it.
That's not how the game works, though, right? That's not how the
doing
game.
what they want.
No, No, if somebody was going to tell you that, then they wouldn't be doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if
they have to
somebody's going,
trust
That
you.
Roxroy could do that
Yeah.
in reverse. Like, hey, Robbie, I know we've been working together the whole game, but I'm going to vote you out.
Not
No,
if
it-
it hurts him.
yeah, no, with the voting out part, I don't think that's that's not how I interpret that statement. But I mean, as part of an alliance, it's not uncommon for one person to say, "I'm going to be voting with these numbers. We're going to lose, but I want to just keep that fake trust up with them. So sure, I'm going to vote there, but I'm just letting you know, you guys are still going to win the vote, and I'm with you, but you're going to see 3 votes on whoever or 4 votes, whatever it is." If that's what he means, then that's fine. This is communication.
He just wants.
But
I think he just wants to know what's coming ahead. His pet peeve is people that don't use their turn signals. He just wants to know what direction we're going, people.
that's well said. Well said.
That's all he
That's
wants. He just
perfect.
wants to know which direction.
Yeah, perfect.
Fun fact,
Kevin, you got any thoughts on him?
Yeah, Roxroy lives 3 miles from me. Fun
Wow,
fact.
do you know
I
him?
just looked that up. I do not, but I did a real quick search of our guy. So he is
So Kevin's gonna go know him.
yeah, we're gonna become friends, neighbors, buddies. That's the plan.
Awesome.
Well, he's already home. so
Premiere
you should
party
do
for
that today.
season 43. Like
Well, go
Kevin's?
let us know. Kevin's gonna get us the inside scoop here at For the Fans Entertainment. So
A live interview, stay at home dad. I think that I think he's gonna do well. He seems fun from some pictures I saw. I think that he is going to be someone that is going to be able to connect with people.
do we know how many kids he has?
Yeah, that makes a big
I
difference.
feel
Yeah.
like
Because if he has like
He's got
one
like
kid,
6 at home.
yeah,
The guy's winning.
Exactly.
3,
He
but
already is managing a tribe on his own.
Yeah.
So I feel he's gonna win if
I
he
feel
does.
like he said 3, but somebody can fact check me there. Not
The
positive.
patience that he's going to have, I think, is going to be a big tool in his belt. Because I consider myself to have decent patience, but being a parent pushes the envelopes daily.
Yeah.
Minute to
So
minute.
we all
Daily.
agree that
Jesus.
Roxroy, he's got a pretty good chance. Is he going to win?
No.
Ready? Taking Roxroy as your winner?
And I don't want to give out too much information.
Yeah,
The
come on
draft's
now.
at
We're
the
doing
end.
a
No,
little
we're not
draft
doing
at the
that,
end of this
Kylie.
here.
Get out of here.
Whatever.
If he
I'm
has
just trying to
6
pitch for
kids,
it.
yes. So can someone in the comments let us know? If he has 6 kids, yes, he's my winner pick.
Yeah, why
If
don't
he
we all
has
just pause for a
one
minute
kid-
and tell Kylie our number 1 picks and
That way
maybe our
she-
1, 2, and 3s, and then that
Yeah,
way,
Yes. I lost my pen.
If
but
it's
here it
one
is.
kid, I say merge. He'll make merge.
Yeah. Or go the tribal right before. But like 6 kids all the way. He is outwitting, outlasting, outplaying everyone there.
All right. Next up, from the Ika tribe, we have Tori Meehan, daughter of Dawn. Just kidding, I made that up. She is 25 years old, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, but residing in Rogers, Arkansas, and she is a therapist. So I got a lot of thoughts on Tori. Really, really, really like her. One big thing about her is she is a Christian and she's going to talk about her faith. It's kind of like her center stone. She's, she's going to talk about her faith on the island, and it's going to be a big part of her and her story. So, yeah. Anybody got any thoughts on Tori?
Tori's a very
Yes,
cute girl.
Tori is so hot.
She's a very attractive young lady. I think I like Tori's smile. The real question is Tori going to be able to I feel like one of the real keys to Survivor is being able to blend in and hang out and make sure you don't stand out too much. And she has a real radiant smile and real happy-go-lucky. I don't know that she'll be able to blend in without standing out.
So one of the things she said in her press was that she's been wearing her hair up and kind of baggy clothes so that she's not oh, this blonde-headed young woman that, has a nice figure. She's just really trying to downplay that. And another thing she talked about is that she wore the color blue a lot because apparently that helps in first impressions. Like if you see somebody wearing blue, like, gosh, that Kevin, that Robbie,
That's right.
they're
That's
they're
why Robbie
A-okay,
also
but
wore
that
blue.
Frank in the black, he sketches me out.
Negative
So
vibes. Me and Frank.
into the
Background,
psychology
got the
of
blue.
things.
Yeah,
That's why I try to wear this around a lot. Throw
You're
people off.
You're happy and angry at the same time. No, honestly, I think we're kind of touching around the same. I think we have similar opinions on Tori, but I think she's underrated. I think that the biggest fear that anybody who's going to be a Tori fan has is that first impression. And you see in some of the media that she's put out that Tori says, my biggest fear is my first impression. And quite often in life, people expect her to be a mean girl, or somebody who's high on herself, very, I guess Mean Girl is really the best way to say it. The Mean Girls movie, really. But she's conscious of that. And she's actively combating that. You see a lot of people say, my biggest fear is this might happen. That's what I'm worried about. Well, Tori says, this is my biggest fear. Here's how I'm going to adjust that. I'm not saying I'm a therapist. I'm saying I'm a caregiver, because people love caregivers. You think that they're gentle and giving people, right?
Yeah.
But if you can't get that first impression across, or if your tribe loses day one and you're going to tribal day two and you don't have that time, right, to put that first impression into play, then, or to engineer it a little bit more effectively, then it might be a bit tricky. But whenever I see somebody who's self-aware of what their actual concerns are and knows and understands how people are going to perceive them, I got a lot of respect for that, because not a lot of people do that.
Self-awareness in these shows will go a long way. Like, we do have to give her props there. I completely agree that her just being aware of that in general, and then also commenting on it, and like Robbie said, combating it, and having, no one ever wants to come to you like with a problem and not have a resolution. Like, have a resolution. Think about, like, how are you going to fix this? Don't just be like, oh, victim me. And she's like, okay, well, this could happen and people could perceive me this way. And this is how I'm going to fix that. I'm going to wear blue. And I'm going to say I'm a caregiver.
I'm going to make you like me at first.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I saw somewhere, I forget what it was, where she was saying how big of a nerd she is and how she wrote like sci-fi novels or something, and just
Muggle Quidditch, I think.
Plays Muggle Quidditch and just goes right into that. And you've got, not to peg him too bad, but you have Zach on this tribe as well, right? And he seems like quite the uber nerd himself, and he's into debating and all this good stuff. And we can touch on that later, but that nerd culture might be strong, and there might be some alliances that make sense pretty quick there.
That was a huge selling point for me, was the Harry Potter love, the Muggle Quidditch. Just looked at some of the facts from Arkansas. I just moved here, so maybe I could get on her Muggle Quidditch team. If you're looking for a beater, man, I'm dying to play.
One thing I think that was interesting is DeLucas, someone in the chat mentioned that she was on Sequester season 3. So being on camera, having to play games like this is nothing new to her. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be beneficial.
And I think she also did pretty well, like a top 4 or 5 finish.
So do we think that could
backfire? I think playing Sequester could backfire.
Interesting thing. I mean, everybody that listens to us knows that we all play, the online reality games, and there is a person that is, familiar to the scene of online reality games. But we have that same thing with Claire. So I don't think in Big Brother, I don't think that that's necessarily because she's played Sequester. It's like, okay, she's done something like this before. She's a winner. I think it's advantageous.
But it does give her a leg up, I think.
Yeah, I think
it depends.
But
it depends.
Like seals the
Sequester is a game, though, that you have to start off aggressive and fast, and you have to make moves to stay alive. And if she doesn't make that difference with Survivor and comes out playing Sequester and Survivor, I think it's going to turn a lot of people off. And if they find out that she played a live reality game, that's going to send goosebumps. People are not going to like that.
Right.
For instance, when I played the live fan game, people knew that I played online, and that was a reason to target me.
Well, this is one of those things too where it's just another level of saying I'm a super fan, right? So if somebody says I'm a fan of the show, I've watched a lot of seasons. Well, that's one thing. If you say I'm a fan of the show, I've watched every season multiple times, that's the next level. And now if you're saying not only do I watch every season multiple times, I play the games that I can online or in person, but even
I pay for my own flight to play.
But people who play those games also know the risks of saying those things, right? So, the one benefit I would give Tori if she's played these reality games is the fact that everybody always thinks, oh, that wouldn't happen to me, right? I wouldn't get blindsided. I wouldn't get voted out. I wouldn't get backstabbed. But when you play reality games, you learn what it feels like when people lie to your face. You learn that, you're human too. You need to act to avoid that. And Tori might be one of those people who goes in and plays like it's her second time playing, opposed to other people who go in and this is their learning experience because it is their first time. So
I think Tori
mechanisms.
Yeah, Tori gives me the vibes that she lives like she's playing Survivor. She approaches relationships like she's trying to build alliances because she watched it. I'm similar, like with her history. She grew up with her family watching Survivor. She became a therapist. Who knows if Survivor wasn't the family show, would she become a therapist? Like, I think Survivor's a part of her, so I'm high hopes here.
I think it could also make her a huge target, like especially if she leaks in that, like leads in any way that she is very familiar with this game, very familiar with reality TV games in general. Like if she leaks any of that in any way, I think that she could be perceived as a major threat. And they're like, before merge, you got to go, girl.
And I know we got to move on. Sorry, go ahead.
The thing that I think is going to work in her favor to that, Trisha, is that there are a lot of really big fans playing this season. Like this is not a season filled with recruits. I mean, we're going to get to some of them in a minute that are
fans versus fans.
So far down the rabbit hole.
We're renaming the season, Jeff.
I want to throw out before we move on that I mentioned earlier how Rox has the advantage of being the muscle on his tribe, in my opinion. Him and Drea likely are the two strongest people just based on what I've seen for challenges. But I also feel like Tori has the advantage that there are people weaker than her physically in this tribe. So if people go against the muscle to try to get the muscle out of the game, she's safe. If people go against trying to keep tribe strong, I still think she's safe. So I think she survives a couple votes if that first impression isn't absolutely trash. I think that she might be able to survive those votes and build that relationship. But yeah, we'll see.
And before we move on, I just want to say to my fellow blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls out there that I don't perceive us immediately as mean girls. So I don't know if that's how I've been perceived my whole life, but that is absolutely
it is.
I don't feel like I come across as mean at all. So no one's ever said that to me. So I'm just
maybe,
what?
They like in addition she
has
said
about you. They said about you.
They're like, that girl.
So you're pulling a Roxroy right now where you want people to come and tell you to your face, right? And just let you know, give you a heads up.
Yeah.
I think it just shows that Trisha doesn't read the comments on our YouTube page.
I think it just shows I have zero self-awareness.
No, it's a good point, but it's a sad reality of how a lot of people are conditioned.
That's so rude.
All right. Any more thoughts on Tori?
Nope.
Nope.
We're not telling you where we're placing
Find
her
out
in our
during the draft our real opinions.
Anybody taking Tori as your winner. But
get out of here, Kylie, with that.
How many of y'all think she's going to make the merge?
I think she's going to make merge.
Yeah. I see her post-merge.
Yeah, I hope so.
Potential to do well.
I stand girls with the T name and blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm going to be basic.
No bias at all there. No
bias.
All right. Next up, Romeo.
Where
Romeo
are
Escobar, 37, from LA, lives in Norwalk. That doesn't mean anything to me. And he is a pageant coach. And a couple things about Romeo, he's like really good at reading body language. So he's able to pick up like if somebody's being deceitful or if somebody's real open and honest with him, and he's going to rely on that. So anybody else have any thoughts on Romeo?
As a pageant coach, I just want to say I think he is absolutely going to be able to read people very well. I mean, you deal with probably some very difficult people in that world, not just pageant girls, but judges,
moms.
other, whoever, and telling people how to speak publicly and like helping them, throughout that process, I think will be an advantage for Romeo.
Probably deals with a lot of big personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that will help him survive the first day.
Yeah, and then after that, holla.
And I mean, he said himself that, he's terrified of being there, and he hopes nobody finds out how terrified he is and scared of just being on the island and living. Like, I'm not going to exaggerate here, but he used the word terrified. Whenever somebody says that they're scared, I find it hard to believe that they're going to not only overcome the fear, but also find courage to make moves and build relationships and win challenges and find idols and everything. I don't have high hopes. I mean, as you can tell, I don't have high hopes.
So Romeo lives in Norwalk, which is a small suburban area on the outskirts of Los Angeles County. On your way to like Disneyland, if you're going towards Orange County.
Okay.
He's from Los Angeles originally, so he is a city guy like myself through and through. I would not be happy about being on an island either. So I definitely see where he is coming from.
Yeah, I thought you were about to disagree with me hard on that when you started.
Nope. Listen, living out here, being from the city, him being from Los Angeles like myself, current residence Norwalk, which is where I went to like primary school. I get it. I'm terrified too. I ain't trying to live out there. So
okay, can we like mark this down? Kevin and I starting season 42 on the same page. I don't know.
26 minutes, 38 seconds. Let's mark it.
Yeah.
So do we think that he is going to be like Elizabeth style, where he's like, the beds need to be a certain way, like I need to sleep a certain way because I'm not comfortable out here. I'm not getting any sleep. This is a nightmare.
No, I think it's going to be a complete just culture shock because you're sleeping outside.
But that's a really good point, Trisha. He's used to being able to give his opinion like
and
harshly
take
to people
it
and say, you need to change this and here's what you should do and here's why. And that's an interesting take. I'm curious when people are building the structure and cooking the food
one of the pet peeves is laziness. So when he sees someone lazy in real life, he probably is like, that shit ain't flying, get that out of here. But he's going to have to rein that in and just let the lazy people dig their own hole.
I think we're going to see his tongue just bleeding because he's just going to be biting it so many times. Otherwise, he's going to go.
All right. Any more thoughts on Romeo?
Good luck to him, because
Romeo.
I don't know how this is going to go.
Good luck. All right.
That's Kevin's draft pick.
Prove us wrong.
Next up, we have Swathi, is how I believe she pronounces it. Goal. She is 19 years old from Palo Alto, California, and she is an Ivy League student. Also, she is in the Army Reserves, and she had been out in training, and she had a very short turnaround, less than 48 hours before flying out to Fiji to play Survivor. So she went from that to a game show. So I think that's interesting how that is going to affect Swathi. She's really, really personable, really gung-ho. She gives me very, very big JD vibes. I really, really like Swathi. I got burned by JD last season. I'm not doing that again this season. So Swathi, I really like you. I hope you do well, but I ain't playing with you, girl.
Yeah. 19 is super young. Super, super young to just relating to people and having some life experiences. It looks like a really nice girl, but I don't know. I kind of get sheltered vibes almost, her parent, very structured. She's been structured her whole life is what it looks like.
Well, Palo Alto is where Stanford is. And so it's a very affluent area of California.
Yeah, she talks about, though, being able to fit into different groups because, I think she may be.
I think
I can't remember.
How many
But,
different groups
you
of
know-
people though do you meet in your life when you're 19 and you've done
Right.
doing all that much, so many
Yeah.
things she's doing right now currently? I don't know.
I
yeah,
think
she's young, and I wish that we saw Swathi in like 4 or 5 years. Kind of the same thing that I said about JD. She is so excited to play, but like one of the things she said is she doesn't know how she'll be perceived. So she has a very big lack of self-awareness, and I think that's a huge red flag.
Yeah, as Frank was saying, that comes with age, right? And not always. There's always exceptions to the rule, but usually as you age, you mature, and part of that, maturity process or maturing process is self-awareness. And the fact that Swathi said, I don't want to be perceived as being too young and naive, so instead of saying I'm 19, I'm going to tell everybody I'm 20. And
gained a lot in that 1 year.
right when Swathi said that, I was like, man, you're right. 20 does, honestly, in my mind, if you say 20, it sounds a lot different than 19. But
Yeah.
why not say 22 or 23? Right? Which is even just a couple more years. It almost sounds like you've been through university at that point, or you're in
the last year.
You've got
just jump to the last year.
you've got experience, and it's in life a little bit, right? But I will not undersell the value of going through whatever military training Swathi's gone through, whether it's basic training or whatever, learning to sleep outside, make fires, be cold, be hungry, have to, be cold and hungry and then go do physical activity, and then not sleep very well. Like all of that stuff is going to be heartbreaking for probably most of the cast for the first week, where they're just stressed out, hungry, tired, cold, and then you have to go exercise and run.
Can we talk about that for a second?
In that zone still, though. I mean, she hasn't even had time to like decompress and process what she's been through with that, and she's going straight into this. So, I mean, is that an advantage for her?
But
I think go ahead.
So we've talked about like how she goes to Ivy League and how she lives in Palo Alto, and like she seems, to have this like kind of privileged life. But I feel like no one I know that's like privileged is like, let me go sign up for the Army. Let me go do that, And so I'm like, first, just like giving her kind of resume, she did come off to me as kind of a badass. Like, I'm like, you are intelligent. Like, you might have had a structured life, but then you signed up for Army Reserves. Like, wow. Go you.
And Survivor.
You obviously didn't have to do that. And Survivor. Yeah. And so I'm like, I know it seems like she wants to accomplish a lot, like at this point in her life, which I hope she does. Like I hope well for her. But the lack of self-awareness is gonna be an issue, I think. But I mean, good for her. Like the Army Reserve thing, I'm like, she could just be an Ivy League kid from Palo Alto, California,
I think though she's a genius, right? I think that she's extremely smart because the area that she grew up in, the fact that she's an Ivy Leaguer, yet what it says here is that she recognizes, like one of the players that she looks up to is Victoria, and the move that she did on Aubrey, she understands how subtle it was and how important it was for her game. Like she's able to notice the little things, as well as have the background that we already know that she's extremely intelligent because she's an Ivy League student. And yes, she has some advantages. I think that she is going to be able to put all of that together. I don't think to win, because ultimately she is still very young, because then that's going to play a factor. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing she can do about that.
And she wants to be Victoria and Chaos Cass. Is what?
Yeah.
And she lives every day like Tony. So I mean, that to me speaks of a person that doesn't completely know themselves.
It speaks of a person that's 19.
Yeah, it's like her goal. Like her goal in life is to be that, but there is no way you're all of those people.
Well, here's the thing though, too, right? Just to throw a little bit more credit towards Swathi, when you have the opportunity and a path laid out in front of you to go, it's not the easy route, because going through university and college or whatever you want to do in life is not easy. But obviously Swathi has the brains and the ability right now to just go through school, get a high paying job, and do the quote unquote easy route. And instead she's doing that and the military, which seems extremely ambitious, and trying to go on Survivor. Like, I think ambitious is a phrase that we don't use enough when we talk about cast assessments here. And clearly Swathi is going after it.
Yeah.
And when push comes to shove and somebody needs to stand up and lie at Tribal or go and lie to someone's face about where the vote's going, maybe you need that wannabe Tony, right? Whether she is or isn't, maybe that'll save her once. But hopefully it doesn't turn into the Brad where you just go tell people and try a bunch of crazy stuff. And
Okay, but is because she has so much lack of self-awareness and she is young and she is magically all of these people, is she easily manipulated this season?
I think she needs to allow herself to be easily manipulated by somebody who's going to be a little older, have more self-awareness, maybe the therapist. Like, if she can be a Robin to someone's Batman, I think she'll see success. I think if she tries to lead her own charge, it'll end in ruin.
She needs to be a little more Liana and a little less JD. I'm worried that she's got too much JD in her.
Was it Swathi that said, I'm not going to say Harvard because I know that some people look at that and immediately have preconceived notions of what a Harvard student is? I mean, that's a little bit of, awareness.
And I don't think it's a thing of like being not having any self-awareness, but I just don't think she solidly knows who she is.
Oh no, saying you're 20 instead of 19, that's all you need to know.
But if she told me that she is from Palo Alto, I would have a preconceived notion without knowing that she also goes to Harvard. I don't need to know anything more than the fact that you live in Palo Alto. Like that is enough for me. Like,
but she could tell someone like me she's from Palo Alto, and I would be like, all of California is the same in my head.
Yes, this East Coast Canadian has no idea where that is.
Fair,
yeah.
So,
fair.
So someone would have to tell
Stanford. Me. Stanford, got it. That's exactly how I would immediately assume. She's like, oh, I don't go to Stanford. Right.
Is this the whole Ica tribe? Have we gone through all of them?
No. Oh, we've got two more to talk about.
Drea, I know.
Okay. Any more thoughts on Swathi? Kind of mixed feelings on how she might do. I think she could do well. I think she could crash and burn.
What's her descent?
I think she's a pre-merge for me.
Do we know her descent, like her ethnicity?
I'm not positive.
I'm not sure.
That's what I was trying to talk about earlier, but I couldn't remember.
It's discussed in the videos, but yeah, I didn't write it. I didn't write that down though.
Yeah, she talks about it, but I can't remember what it is.
Okay. Comments. That's for you. Let us know your research because we don't do any before we come live.
We
do. Remember
don't say we.
I don't do any, but y'all don't remember them.
We're equally balanced. We have some that do PowerPoints and some that comb their hair possibly halfway.
I just show up.
Combing your hair is optional.
All right. Any more thoughts on Swathi?
She's Hindu.
I'm not telling you where she's at in my head in my draft order, Kylie. So move on, please.
Kevin, what?
I think she's Hindu. She's
like Indian?
I believe so.
Yeah, Robert says that she's
Bob.
Yeah, Robert Allen says that she's Indian. Okay. All right, moving on to the next. Zach Wurttenberg. He is 22 years old, from Weston, Florida, residing in St. Louis, and he is a student. So, old Zach here, y'all. He is a classic stereotype of a nerd.
Tell us how you really feel, Kylie.
He looks so nerdy.
He's a nerd, but he knows that he's a nerd.
He looks like one of my people.
Yeah,
another young cast member,
Nerds.
Right? 22.
It looks like he could play a little D&D in his spare time.
Yes.
I don't know what class.
But
I don't know what that means, Frank.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't.
He's like him and his mom are patrons of Rob Has a Podcast, so he's like a big super fan. His mom's a super fan. It's like goes down the family line. He's in debate, and so I mean, that's something that can be, play well for him. More thoughts
like an Adam and Todd mix. I'm getting the vibes of.
Yeah, a little bit. More
a lot of pressure
on Zach.
A lot of pressure for Zach. A lot of pressure. Big fan, super fan. Fan of Rob, Sesti. Plays a lot of social strategy games. Real bad look for him to go out first. Real bad look to go out first. I mean, that if I'm him, that's my number one fear of all time, right? Is that I love this thing so much, and then I went out there and flamed out.
Yeah, he reeks of somebody who might try too much too quick. Although knowing not to do that,
He just can't help it. It's just like he's so excited to be there. He's gonna geek out, like, oh my god,
Make it
he's
your
gonna
way.
like over talk. Like it
but
is.
this is I tied
night.
Tori and Zach together a little bit when it comes to early game, just because when you're just talking about what you do and what you're into and your hobbies and whatever,
Like how you got here, and
I feel like a lot of similarities are going to come out with Zach and Tori. When not, there's obviously differences too, but I think when it comes to the hobbies, the nerd side of it. But one of the quotes that I got from Zach in his presser so far was something along the lines of, "It's not about facts; it's about forming an argument." And that's when he's referring to what it is to become good at debating, right, or debate champion. And he mentioned he basically went to the winners at war version of debate competitions, and it's almost like really good comedians how he'll be able to set a conversation in motion knowing where he wants it to end, and talk you into a corner knowing that at the end there's a point he wants to make, or he wants you to get to that and make it so it's going to be hard for you to disagree with. He's going to debate you without knowing that he's debating you. And as long as he doesn't sound condescending or too leading or preachy to people, then yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's hard
that
to see how he's going to do.
a great debater. I mean, because let me tell you, I'm not taking someone that is good at speaking to the end ever. You're gonna go.
I'm hoping
Noted.
that Zach's fandom saves Tori. Like the fact that there's somebody that is going to possibly geek out on Survivor even more than she would. That is, like you said, Robbie, about Tori. She's not the strongest, she's not the weakest, she's not the biggest super fan. Maybe that's Zach, and so I've got some worries for Zach.
I think Zach, Swathi, and Tori are going to be able to link up and keep each other safe.
That.
I think the three of them will be able to link up, keep each other safe. They're not going to be
Let's pull up the dynamic.
They're not going to be as strong.
Yeah.
They're not going to be a strong three, but I think that they are going to be like physically strong. But I think that the three of them can definitely find their way a little bit together.
Yeah. I see a couple duos in here with like 2/3 wheels, I feel like.
Okay, but let's get to the whole tribe. I want to do the whole tribe at the end because I want to talk about Drea too.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the tribe dynamic.
Yeah. So any more thoughts on Zach? Anybody have anything else to contribute?
I can see him being the flipper of the season just based on how he talks and how he thinks and analyzes stuff. I could see him saying, yeah, the smart move would be for me to actually vote with those people and vote for those people. And he's just got to hide his brain. I think he's just got to hide his brain. And then if he can hide it, that's great. But if you can't, then it's also what value are you if you're not the smart puzzle guy? So it's kind of tricky for him.
I think he's going to struggle hiding that. I think that's going to be his downfall, is he's going to struggle hiding this part of him.
Tori's going to hide it better.
How old is he again? Remind me.
22. I do think for a 22-year-old, though, that he'll be good for a 22.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
He looks so much younger. Like, I feel like he could, like Swathi wants to say she's older, and I feel like he could be like, I'm 15. And
he's definitely getting carded.
100%. Like every day.
I think he's gonna look even younger if he makes it halfway through and all he has is like a little bit of peach fuzz.
Yeah, he has like no facial hair.
And everybody else is growing beards by that point. And
like Tori has a beard by that point, and Zach's still over here with peach
Tori
fuzz.
has a beard by that point.
All right, moving on to the last member of our Ika tribe, we have Drea Wheeler. She is 35, from San Antonio, Texas. Hey, Texas. But she's residing in Montreal, Quebec. And she is a fitness consultant. And
Is it Quebec or Quebec?
Girl, I'm from Texas.
Quebec.
We
I'm
say
asking
strawberry.
Robbie.
Quebec.
Quebec?
Quebec.
Quebec?
Yeah. Quebec.
Okay.
Quebec. Okay.
Montreal, Quebec. Yeah.
All
Quebec.
right, and Drea is a badass. So
The actual powerhouse of this tribe is
Like,
Yeah.
Here
look
is
at
your
her.
mama. Drea's got 6 kids. So 5 kids. Just kidding. She
Might as
grew
well
up
be
with
6
5
if you got
kids.
5.
I mean, once you get past 3 children, it doesn't even matter. You know,
I'm
like
she
it's like
grew
you
up
have
with
50.
that many kids.
Oh, she doesn't have that many herself.
No.
Is she
Oh,
even
wow.
married,
Okay.
Kylie? Like, you're starting rumors about this girl.
Yeah.
This is-
Yeah.
So Drea
I
is
wasn't sure
the
what.
she is an All-American she's a former All-American track runner. She is a fitness consultant now. She stays in fantastic shape. She, along with Rock, is going to be the powerhouses that are going to drive this tribe to wherever they got to go.
Mhm.
So I don't see them being her being someone that they're going to look at to vote out early because they're going to need her
Mhm.
desperately to try to win anything early in this game.
I agree. I get a lot of Ricard vibes from Drea when I'm watching it. I see somebody who's going to be good in challenges and more intellectual than I think people give them credit for early on. But what scares me is the photo of someone looking like they're going to dominate. I hate
Like,
when they do that to people.
I'm already
I hate
scared
it
of her.
because it's like it's never that. It's never that. Like was it Voce last year? He had like some really evil looking
Yeah,
photo
he had like
as
a
his
mad, like,
Oh yeah, like the
like a
lighting was just like
stern-
looking as evil as but no, I
Yeah.
think you nailed it. I think you nailed it there, Kevin. Athletic, intellectual, motivated, sounds like built, at least runs their own business. The only negative that I really threw out there, other than the cast photo, was a little bit misguided, in my opinion, on what people or what she thinks people are going to view as a threat, and said instead of saying I'm I run a business or I'm a startup business owner or whatever, I'm going to say that I'm a physical trainer, and thinking that a physical trainer and being
Is
really
less
athletic
intimidating
is
than a
less
business owner.
intimidating than saying I work in a business. If I heard somebody if she went in and said, okay, I'm a startup business owner, right? Okay, so it doesn't sound like you're a billionaire. It sounds like you're a self-made person. You're motivated. That's great. But if you come in and say, I'm a physical trainer, I spend my day doing CrossFit and everything else to stay in shape, I'm like, well, shit, that's great early on, but I don't want to go against you if I'm just holding on to a pole at the end or
Right.
But
So-
I think the reason she did that is because she is intellectual. And so it's like, I don't want to give these people insight that I am able to start and run my own business because I'm going to look fit. She's going to look fit. Like, people know.
That's a really good
take that
point,
away.
Trisha.
Can't have
That's a really, because we talked about with I wanted to call him Eric, with Zach. We talked about with Zach how if he wants to hide his brain, what else can he sell himself as?
Yeah.
Right? Because he's not the most physical specimen out there. And whereas Drea can hide her brain and just pretend to be the physical threat.
Yeah.
And maybe that's better than being both. So
And on a tribe
that's a
setting,
solid
like, you're
point.
like, I want to keep people around that are going to be good at challenges because we want to win. We don't want to keep going to tribal.
On a
So
6-person tribe, especially. Yeah.
yes. And so I think that maybe was her motivation there.
But Drea is no drama. She is looking for a Wendell and Dom partnership. So,
Rocks.
she may.
I don't
find
think
out
it'll be
with
the
Ross.
same
100%.
dynamic.
100%.
I think there'll be a duo, but I don't think it'll be like Wendell and Dom where they're equals. I think she will be the boss.
Yeah.
That
All
might
right.
be fair.
Do we want to talk about the tribe really quick?
And
as
I
a whole?
think
Of course, yeah.
I want to talk. My thoughts are, I think, very scary when it comes to the physical side. Like I said, I think she's the alpha on the tribe. My worries are going to be, is she going to hold it together if they go on a early losing streak? I don't think she's used to losing, and I don't know how well she'll handle it. So that's my only concerns.
I agree. When you look at the tribe altogether, I think that she stands out as, like I said, the powerhouse for the tribe. I don't think that she's in any danger of being an early boot. No danger whatsoever.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
who do you guys think goes first?
I mean, I feel like it's probably Romeo or Zach.
Romeo or
man.
Swathi for me.
I think we got two duos. I think Zach and Tori are gonna be tight, and then I think Rox and
Drea.
Drea are gonna be tight. And I think if those two come together as a four, I think they'll just pick off one or the other.
I think Romeo's gone first episode.
I don't see him like I can see almost a duo, trio, quad with so many people on this tribe, and Romeo almost fits in none of them.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think Romeo's the odd person out. Now,
I'm worried for you, Romeo.
do you guys see a winner on this tribe?
Yeah, I can see a winner on this tribe.
I see a few very strong potentials on this tribe. This is, I think, a good tribe.
I think this is a tribe that might have a winner, but I think it's going to be hard for them to make it to merge just based on the dynamics of the other tribes when it comes to challenges.
Yeah.
I think, and the only fear I have for Rox is the fact that this is the youngest tribe out of everybody. They average, 30, I think, when I looked at it. If you just add them up and divide it by 6, straight up it's 30, where everybody else is 35. That's 30 years of experience in general for each of the tribes that these guys don't have. If all the young folks just band together, I mean, you've got 4 people that are 25 and under, maybe more. I'm just going off the top of my head here, but you know,
I don't know.
You don't want to be a 44-year-old guy if everybody else is 25 and under. It might just be what it takes day one. I think Romeo goes first, though. I think Rox and Drea team up, just based on what we've seen in the media.
If Rox can relate to and deal with 6 children, I mean, again, we don't know how many, but the comments have not let us know how many kids.
I love how we keep throwing out 6.
But if he has 6 children, he can handle anything, and I firmly believe he can blend in with a bunch of 20-ish year olds.
Yeah, I think he's pretty chill. So
yeah,
I'm worried for Romeo. We're all worried for you, Romeo. We're rooting for you, though, brother.
Romeo,
all right, moving on to our next tribe, the Taku tribe. So we're going to be looking at Jonathan, Marianne, Omar, Lindsay, Jackson, and
Mariah.
Couldn't see that because I have bad vision. Okay, so thoughts on them initially.
Show the whole tribe again.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Okay.
I should have put them at the beginning and the ends of the slides both.
This has Robbie's Jonathan, aka Jason Momoa from Gulf Shores, Alabama. He's one of the cast members that I remember because I was like, I want to sell beach chairs, and that's the life.
Not where I thought you were going.
This tribe will be at tribal often.
I don't disagree with that, Kevin.
We're going to get to know this tribe very well.
Yeah, this is our UA tribe. Take out the T and the K and flip it. You got UA.
I do love the turtle. The turtle. This is my favorite buff.
Yeah. All right.
But orange, notoriously orange, like in Survivor history, I feel like always is the bad luck tribe. Yes. They're always. I mean,
them too. All right,
they did this on purpose.
First up on Taku, we have Jonathan Young. He's 29 years old from Gadsden, Alabama, resides in Gulf Shores. He is a beach service co-owner. I don't know exactly what that means.
He sells chairs.
He sells chairs.
The beach service he provides is he puts chairs out for people.
Yeah, okay. Which that sounds like a great, fun life to live.
Boring.
He's very big into like spearfishing. But
because he has to spearfish. Like he is not.
Trisha, get off this guy, man. Like we get it. You love him. It's okay.
I don't.
His number one pet peeve is wearing shirts.
2 big thumbs down on Jonathan for going to Alabama. So I'm done with him.
No, we can't do that. I'm not a statist where I just hate on people because of the state that they're from. But like, I am judging him. I'm not gonna lie, because he lives this very like nomadic life. Like he's very, I guess, like millennial mindset, except he doesn't want a 401k. Like, he wants to live his best
All
life,
about experiences,
no
bro.
stress. Yes, like
All about experiences.
one with the land kind of person. So maybe that will
I
become
love it.
advantageous for him in this scenario. Like, he's
So-
not a part of corporate
Not a
America
fit.
in any way. He's
Does
not
he
an Ivy
remind
Leaguer.
What was the guy from
Yes.
the No
forget.
Collar tribe with the feathers?
Oh yeah, I can't remember his name now.
Vince.
Vince.
Is it Vince?
Does,
Yeah,
does he remind y'all of Vince?
it is Vince. He just
Why?
cut his hair.
Big
Correct. It
Vince
is Vince Sly.
vibe.
He came back.
But he
This
looks
is-
a little angry. Like,
I think
I'm not a
Jonathan's
fan.
going to surprise people. I think he's going to be way more intelligent than people realize. One of the things I saw in his video that
I smell $100
Stood out
bet
to
coming
me.
here, Frank.
I don't want to bet on Jonathan just because they cast him with no one close to his size. So I think that's the one downside to him. But one thing that really stood out to me in when he was talking is he talked about being a leader servant, and I love how he phrased that because I've seen pushback on the term servant leadership. I've seen a little pushback on that and some talk that it might be a microaggression. So I love how he worded it to really take that out of the question. And so it shows some intelligence on his side. So I think he'll be surprising to a lot of people who are going to look at him and just see the meathead beach bum type vibes. I don't think he's a Fabio. I think there's a lot more up here.
I think you sure.
He
Go ahead,
wants
Kevin,
to play
sorry.
like Ozzy.
Period.
That's so.
are
that-
we
that-
surprised
I-
by that?
That's it.
No, but that's.
I
the
think he
problem,
wants
though.
to have an experience like Ozzy. I think he's a nature boy, wants to climb trees. I think he's in it more for the experience than being the winner. He wants a record. Like, he wants to win the most challenges. We know if you win a
This
lot
is
of
what
those,
I'm
you're
getting
not
at,
gonna.
Frank. The guys come out and said, "I want to dominate physically. I want to win as many challenges and break as many challenge records as I can." And
Yeah.
then, like, immediately afterwards, says he's going to downplay his strength. He's going to not try to look like he's just there to be a force to be reckoned with, and be the whole leader servant, like you were saying.
Well, that could be
And
phases in the
be a
game. He
provider
could
and
want to
also-
do that the first half and downplay his size and then go on a record-winning
Look at the
run to
cast.
the end.
Look at the cast photo. It's impossible
Oh,
for him to.
that's what I said
downplay
at the
his
beginning.
size,
I said
right?
they
And
cast
it's
no
like-
one close to him.
No, like this guy. That's it. You have to just own it.
The
Or
firefighter's
fake-
close
fake
to
an
his
injury.
size, but
The
got
closest thing to
20,
his
30
size
years.
is that mountain back there. Like,
The
Frank,
palm
last
tree.
time
Yeah,
you worked
I
this hard
mean,
to convince
they
us
couldn't
of a
even put
person,
him
it
on
was
his
Brad.
knees in this picture to, like, help him in any way.
Yeah,
But-
homeboy is big, and he
The
cannot hide
last-
that.
Frank,
Just
the
like
last
how
time
we-
you worked this hard to convince us on a person, it was Brad, and we know how that went.
I was also the person at the draft that was pushing Ricard, and people were
No.
saying that I was
don't
crazy
know.
then
Like,
too.
revisionist
So.
Owned the
history a
Ricard.
little
We
bit
were
here,
all
but-
thought Ricard
Nobody
was-
thought you were crazy on Ricard, Frank.
Yeah.
But
This is-
You
this
guys
is
gave me shit
Brad
for drafting
2.0.
first, for sure. We can
This
We
play
is
did.
back
Brad
the tape.
You can do
2.0.
that. Play it back.
Right.
So-
Because this is, listen, his looking at his bio, right? First and foremost, when they asked him what Survivor player will you play the most like, he said Ozzy, full stop. There was nothing more, nothing less. He did not elaborate. He did not explain. He just said Ozzy. So for the fact that you have elaborated for him that he would wants the experience that Ozzy
I
had,
get those
he didn't
vibes.
say any of that.
He
He
also
literally
I
just
get those
said,
vibes. I didn't say he said that. I said I
no,
think.
I know. No, I know. But I think for him, I think it was just I want to play like Ozzy. Period. He wants to climb trees. He wants to hunt. He wants to get the food for everybody. He thinks
Wants
that's
to
the
win
kind of game that
challenges.
wins the
And
game.
then he wants to get off of Survivor and create an OnlyFans, and that is his end game in this.
He said, his
And I think
biggest
he'll do
accomplishment-
well.
His biggest, I
Frank
think you're
is
right on
like,
that one.
subscribe.
I think his biggest, the fact that he said his biggest accomplishment in life is breaking the Guinness Book of World Records for most pull-ups with 100 pounds on his back tells me everything that I need to know.
Gag me.
This guy he would if you want him to, Trisha, look at his
I
OnlyFans.
bet.
But that is a different situation for a different time.
Yeah, I think he wants to be Ozzy, and I think he's going to be, and I think the tribe is going to need to keep him. I think they're going to need to keep him to provide fish, to provide the muscle and the challenges, and the charisma. Honestly, I think the guy's going to be hilarious around camp. I think there's going to be some free free spirit kind of behavior out there, which is going to be really funny. And I think this is a textbook person that you drag to merge just so you can survive the merge boot.
Yeah.
This
they're
poor
there.
That was great.
tribe.
We've
This
had
tribe
we've
is
had
going to
you
have-
around long enough, Jonathan. I appreciate your services.
Yes.
It's been fun, and then you let him go.
Peace and blessings.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
I mean, he honestly got lucky. He's on this tribe because they are, you're right, Robbie. They're going to need him.
Yeah.
They're going to need him because no one else is even coming close in these challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lindsay, I think will be
Move on.
will be underrated when the challenges come. But I think other than that, yeah.
Segue, who's next? Let's
All right,
let's
so
get into
any
them
more
because
thoughts
poor
on
Jonathan's just
Jonathan?
getting torn
We're all
into
getting
over here.
early pre-merge, merge boot. Frank has him in the finale.
I didn't say that.
Frank's on record that he's going to win.
I said for the people just listening to this that can't see how angry I am. No, I said I don't think he's gonna go far because no one's close to his size. I think his tribe's gonna be like, oh, we can win without you after they see everyone else.
I think he goes at a swap. Holla. Can we also just really quick talk about his little baby dreads? Them little baby dreads, they're just hanging on there. Like, what is going on with his hair?
Very
He just cut this off.
Vince got the feathers. He's got the dreads. Yeah. Okay.
One dread. By dread, it's
I
a
think there
singular.
might-
It's a Padawan braid. Get it right.
Oh, now I want to cheer for the guy.
All right. Moving on. Mary Ann Oketch.
Okay,
She's 24 from Ajax, Ontario, and she is a seminary student a la Shan. So, love Marianne. She's very bubbly, really, really likable, like kind of a big personality, but I don't think she's loud and overbearing. I got high hopes for Marianne. Anybody else have any thoughts?
She does play D&D, so that's awesome.
For a fact.
Yeah, it says tabletop. That's D&D or Pathfinder or something along those lines.
Okay.
Video games, reading, snowboarding. So
I think Marianne is going to be a strategical force to be reckoned with. She's going to be someone that's going to that may not have strong physical chops. I see her looking at her. I see a lot of looking through her answers and the things she's talking about. I see a lot of Suri Fields in her, which is high praise. I think Suri is the best player to ever play the game, and I think that she has a lot of Suri's strengths in terms of talking to people and getting to know people and connecting with people. And I think that she'll be able to do that very, very well using both her charisma and her story, her family story. I think she'll be able to really get in there with some good people as long as she's able to.
What's her family story?
Her mom was born in Kenya, came over, and then she grew up and has gone on to
doctor.
Yeah.
She's a doctor?
Mom is.
Oh, her mom is a doctor.
Yeah. And so, and then through that, she's now in the ministry and then charges being an African Canadian woman, I guess.
She's not American. She is Canadian.
Yeah. That is going to be something that's going to really be able to connect with people out there on the island. Now, the question is, will she be able to survive the slaughtering of her tribe? That's the question.
That's a good question. I think she has the benefit of having a couple people on her tribe that are going to be extremely weak. I think about 4 of them. So
4 of the 6.
I think so. I think she's going to be pushing to try to become back-to-back, Canadian winners of this show. I think that, as a plus, yes, she's Canadian. And the charisma, you mentioned it, is off the charts, and motivation is built into that. But the only thing that I will say, which it might just be the fact that she was sitting down in front of a camera, just got to Fiji or wherever the interview was happening. But when a question would come that she wasn't necessarily prepared for, she just started like scramble brain rambling, not incoherent rambling, like got to the point, but it wasn't as succinct as you saw with a lot of other people.
That's because in D&D, after your turn, everyone else goes, so the whole time you can think about what you're going to do next and plan it all out.
And like I said, it could be reading. It could be reading into nothing.
So
But when I'm looking at what I've seen from everybody else, it stood out to me as one of the few people who kind of stumbled over their own words. And if you're paranoid, I'm not saying she's paranoid. If you're talking to someone who's paranoid, and all of a sudden you're stumbling over what you're trying to say and everything, you don't want to come across as if you're trying to lie or make it up and you're struggling at it. Being able to be succinct and say, look at me, I'm voting with you. We got this. Without being like, well, I think, what if we, I don't know if,
So she needs to be
she's
with
just
Romeo.
a talker. I think she's just a talker because all her answers on her bio are super long.
Yeah,
Like,
very
so-
bubbly, very
Yeah.
personable. I don't have a lot of fears for her pre-merge. Like,
very
I
high
think-
hopes. Very high
Yeah.
hopes. Yeah.
I think she's going to be all right, even if she stumbles around some words, because, woo, we got some mess over here. Okay, moving on. Omar Zakir. He is 31 years old. He is from somewhere in Ontario, residing.
He's
in
from Whitby. Come on now.
Ontario. And he's
What's
a
his hometown,
veterinarian.
Robbie? What's his
Kitchener.
hometown?
Kitchener.
Okay.
Kitchener,
And
Ontario.
he's a veterinarian, and I mean he is likable. He is a big super fan. He is not a fan of the whole Hance family. He said he didn't like any of them. So-
Rock on, my dude.
Welcome
You
to the
have-
club.
You have a good read on people, and I appreciate that
Welcome to
about
For the Fans
you.
Entertainment, Omar.
This is now
All right,
Omar's
so more
fan
thoughts
account.
on
Let's please
Omar.
slide into his DMs.
This is
More
Omar
thoughts on
Zakir
Omar.
Stan account.
I like
So-
him already.
His pet peeve is Joey from Friends.
Oh, like a whole ass character. is
That's
his
rough.
name.
How do you not?
I mean, how do you pick Joey and not Ross?
Yeah,
This
what's
dude-
happened
I think-
in your life?
Fair.
to
If you're
scar
gonna
you
pick a
enough?
Friends character, how do you not pick Ross? I agree.
Yeah,
So,
I would only
how
be
about
more
Robbie
concerned if he
Anthony?
said Phoebe.
Yeah, fair.
I
don't
like
know.
this dude like a lot. I don't have high hopes for him, but I like him a lot.
I was gonna say, I was like, wait, I don't know, man.
Well,
Yeah. I don't
in
think he's gonna
Kylie's
do well.
introduction, I felt like it was like a roller coaster. He was just climbing, and then he just crashed.
When he
immediately.
started talking about putting his hand in the rhino's butt, all I could picture is the Ace Ventura coming out of the rhino butt. Like, that's all I could picture.
Yeah, all I can think about with veterinarian is I just recently watched Love is Blind 2, and the one veterinarian on there is Shake, and he is a whole ass
Ugh.
mess. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, well, so far you have a lot of knocks against you, my dude.
I have
Yeah,
an
I
issue
mean,
with
Omar's got some
vets
amazing
right now because
qualities.
I just had to pay like $300 to get my cat fixed. So vets
Yeah.
are on a shit list right now.
I mean, I'm happy that there's another Canadian on the show,
Let's give a pause.
So many Canadians this time.
right? I feel like he's kind of, bantha fodder a little bit here. I think he's being thrown to the wolves. I think he's going to be really funny and a nice soft target. Pretty early.
He gives me Brad vibes for sure.
He's just, I don't know. Like I think he's delusional is a strong word. But when you watch what he was talking about with how I'm gonna pretend that person's a canary and that person's a this and that person's a that. And I get it. He's being funny because he's a vet, but compare that to the answers of other people where they're dead serious and they've got plans and they're dialed in.
But this is
I
like
did not
for
feel
us
like
to
Omar
read.
was dialed in at all
Yeah.
going into this. I feel like he's going to be shocked by everything. And then when he's sitting there at the exit confessional and he's giving his, I didn't see that coming. I guess I should have played harder. It was fun. Thanks.
So I have a question. Did
Oh,
he,
no,
in his bio at all, so he's like saying, I'm going to pretend they're so-and-so and they're this animal. Does he give a reference to what type of animal he is?
Wants to be a
bird-
pigeon,
A
right?
bird-
He
no,
can be a monkey with his.
no, he
tail
wants to
cut
look like
off.
a pigeon but be a bird of prey. And
So he wants to look like a pigeon but be a hawk.
Yes,
He's a monkey with his tail cut off. It won't be
He's,
long now.
he's
before
Goku. Sorry.
I hope, Omar, that you come and join us on the show sometime because I think you're a fun time. I mean, you might even be able to join us in season because you're going to be gone soon. So I don't know.
No, you know, Kevin, you're kind of being funny about it, but I think it's a sad. I think this is going to be a similar character that you would love to see get further because I think they're going to be really funny. The confessionals are just going to be like I think he's going to be fun to watch. But then when the strategy hits the fan, it's not going to be pretty.
I agree with Michael in our comments. He said he had me with the Hans hate, lost me with the Joey hate, and I'm like, how do we go from like such a good read to like not such a good read?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just listen. If it's because he hates Joey, that's all it is. I still have a great read on the dude. I think the dude is going to be a lot of fun, like Robbie's saying. I just don't think he's going to be long for this world. That is all.
All right. Any more thoughts on Omar?
Look forward to your exit interview in a few weeks, Omar.
Like I got like Bryce Isaiah vibes. Bryce Isaiah vibes.
Thursday. Okay, next up we have Lindsay Dulce. She's 31.
Sorry. He just said his pet peeve is people who complain about the cost of vet care.
Robbie! I know, that's great. That's great.
Okay, so between Kevin insulting him and Frank complaining about the cost of vet care, we appreciated you stopping by, Omar. All right, so Lindsay here is 31. She is from Morganville, New Jersey, residing in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and she is a dietitian. And Lindsay is, the word that she describes herself as is, one of them is loud. And that is what you're going to get from Lindsay. She's a lot. She doesn't have the Jersey accent, but she's very much a stereotypical Jersey Shore personality.
Gym Tan Laundry.
GTL, let's go.
So are we going to get like a female DeLucas out there?
Maybe. So
I don't think it's wild.
She's loud, she's talkative, and she has an intense personality. That's how she described herself. Those are not adjectives that gel well in the game of Survivor.
So far, this whole tribe, like every introduction, because again, this is raw reaction for me. I don't know any of these people. I'm like, every person on this tribe is like, who is actually going to go home first is what I'm trying to figure out.
I think it's going to go one of two ways, right?
I think we're getting there.
Either we're going. I think it's going to go one of two ways. Either you're going to have them voting out the Lindsays and the Jonathans because they're going to be like, we're going to lose anyway.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have those two band together because I think Lindsay's going to be annoying. I think that's just how that's going to be. But she's
a Joey. I mean, it sounds like.
Yeah, but she's going to be a powerhouse, and you're like you're going to need her along with Jonathan, but you're going to be like, I really don't love these two. And
I think Tiffany went in a time machine.
Dude, you just read my. I was just about to say, I think this is going to be a Tiffany who can do challenges. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, we bashed Tiffany pretty bad last season for sucking real bad at challenges. And then eventually Tiffany came and did pretty good in a few. But Lindsay's going to be a strength. And you mentioned that, Kevin. You said it's going to be Jonathan and Tiffany pulling the physical weight through the challenges here. And I think that's true. And I had on my little PowerPoint that I put together, I do little notes and I have like a plus symbol for, the benefits and the minuses for obviously the minuses. And this is plus/minus talker, plus/minus confident and confrontational. And so it's like, right. It's either it's one of those people who, depending on how the rest of the tribe interacts with her, I think can do really, really well, or is just, talks herself out.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she wants to play like Lauren Ashley back, and shout out to LAB, like she's dope. And the fact that she recognizes that she's dope is cool to me.
But I've loved Lauren Ashley back. Like,
yeah.
And I don't feel like these two are very similar at all. Like, I feel like this girl, she's aware that she's like loud and this big personality and da-da-da. But like, is she aware enough to tone it back? Where I feel like at times, like, Lauren Ashley was like able to tone it back and like know and be aware to like I need to have this conversation and I need to use my social skills here. And I don't feel like this loud Lindsay is going to have that
Loud Lindsay.
necessarily.
So here's the question. Is Lindsay more likely to be like Lauren Ashley Beck, or is Roxroy more likely to be like John Cochran? Because I'm putting
Okay.
bets on rocks.
I would say she's more like Lauren and Ashley Beck. I don't feel like Rox is going to be anything like Cochran.
If I could go back in time and this random Lindsay person who doesn't know who I am from, a hole in the wall, if I could give a piece of advice, I would say whenever you feel like you're going to blow up and turn into that loud person, do it in an amazing confessional by yourself with the camera person, walk off and just vent into the camera and then come back, and your tribe will never see that until, it'll come out slowly, obviously. But this is the type of person where I would love to just see them blow up at the camera and be like, these people are all pissing me off, vent, get it out, and then go back and just
chill. Like
let it roll internally, and wait until someone comes up to you and be like, man, it's really annoying me how they're doing XYZ. And they like, yeah, don't get me started. But yeah, I don't know. But there's bigger targets to go out first on this tribe than her.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on Lindsay? Okay, moving on. Jackson Fox. Jackson is 48 years old, from Pasadena, Texas, now residing in Houston, Texas, and he is a healthcare worker. So working a hard job in these COVID times. So much respect to you, Jackson. Jackson, let me see. Jackson, the thing that you may not know by looking at him is that he used to be a girl. So he's the first openly transgender person to play Survivor. So that's his interesting fact.
But he's not the first transgender to play.
Not the first transgender person, but the first openly.
No. Yeah,
transgender.
wanted everyone to know about it because it's such a part of who they are and the transformative part.
He transitioned later in life, maybe less than 10 years ago, I think. So.
And he's how old?
48.
48.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
He does not look that old at all.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, Jackson is very, very down to earth, very, very nice. Just does not seem like the type of person that is cut out for Survivor, because I don't see him being mean to people. And I've got great, great worries for Jackson.
So I want to say that I feel like he probably has really thick skin. I feel like transitioning that late is honestly takes a lot to go through. And so I feel like he maybe does have actually a good shot at going farther than some of the other people on this tribe.
I get Jeannie vibes.
Yeah, big Jeannie vibes.
Jeannie went farther than I thought she would, though, I will say.
Not because of anything she did.
Yeah, Jeannie was nice. And
not because he looks like Jeannie or acts like her.
No, I think just going to be not really involved with the game. Just people will like them. They
I wanted to say, though,
not
that his name seemed like that's a movie character. Jackson Fox. That's like.
I used to go by the alias Zach Fox when I would be out of town partying. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that publicly on YouTube. Oh shit!
I think one of the biggest red flags that came out when I was watching as much as I could on Jackson was it was a one-liner. I forget what interview it was, but mentioned that he's used to managing. It might have been like, how are you going to win or something like that, or whatever it was. And it was basically, I'm used to managing, 40 or 50 people and corralling everybody into doing what I want to do, basically. And if you try to do that type of thing, whether it's obvious or whether you think it's minor, other people in this tribe, you have free-spirited Jonathan over there who might not want to be taking directions from you. You've got people who, are more experienced in life that might not be looking for a boss right now. I'm not sure how that dynamic is going to work, especially when the other thing that he says is, I want to play an honorable game and not lie to anybody.
Gag.
That's just
Boring.
that's just really hard to play that way. It's
Yeah.
not impossible, but I mean,
But it's difficult. It is
Yeah,
it is
God
nearly
damn, man.
impossible.
on a
The-
6-person tribe, you got to lie to someone
Yes.
first
When you're
tribal.
gonna go to tribal, every tribe, like every time you can, you're gonna go to tribal.
Especially, we
think-
might see the dice again, so you have to lie.
I think
Yeah.
Jackson is
You gotta
going to
blindside
be
people.
not long for this world either.
Mm-mm.
If he doesn't lie, I'm gonna be disappointed.
All right. Any more thoughts on our friend Jackson here?
The only thing I'll say is that there's a very small chance that people start talking about the professions and linking up with similarities or schools or whatever. And you've got a dietitian, a veterinarian, and a healthcare worker. And there's like, they're not the same fields, but it's kind of like medical field stuff. You know what I mean?
Sounds like the start of a joke.
Anything that can kind of make people, I don't know, find a reason. If people are grasping for survival, anything that's similar, might be enough. But I don't feel really good about Jackson's chances.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. Next up, last one for the Taku tribe is Mariah Sharon. She is 47 years old from Lansing, Michigan, residing in Noblesville, Indiana, and she is a stay-at-home mom. And Mariah is very, very, very interesting to me. She's very likable. She wants to be a provider on the tribe. When you listen to her talk, you just want to sit down and be friends with her. Obviously, like, I worry about Mariah on this tribe because she is a little bit older. There's the possibility they're going to be at a lot of tribal councils, and she fits into that stereotype that can get a first boot easily. I feel like if she can get through the pre-merge, Mariah has a very, very good shot in this game.
Yeah, I think she is like a version of Tiffany that's better at the game. I think she'll be better than Tiffany, more likable. She's that older lady. I think she can get past that. I think she's gonna have the charisma that Tiffany did and be able to make the connections like Tiffany to get past that stage in the game.
Does she work with the Lindsays and the Jonathans?
I think she's very adaptable. I can see her fitting in and kind of getting along with everybody. She is probably, from her interviews and stuff, she's the person I was most like, okay, I really, really like her.
I think one of the things. Sorry, go ahead.
She's dynamic.
Yeah, I think with casting, you see that every one of the 3 tribes has the same archetype for whatever role, right? Each tribe's got the big muscle, one of them, and they also have the parent, right? You've got Roxroy in the first one. You've got Mike, who's openly empathetic in the tribe we haven't spoken of yet. And in this tribe, you have Mariah. Now, the difference is this is the only tribe that Mariah doesn't have that kid that needs a mom. You know what I mean? Or needs a parent. Nobody in this tribe needs a parent. The only one that age-wise might even be close is Marianne. And I don't think Marianne is out there looking for a parent figure. Seems very independent, very driven on her own. You see with Roxroy, might have the I don't know, like Zach or one of the younger people out there. I guess we'll also talk about Drea, right, for Roxroy. Yeah. But I don't see that obvious duo here with Mariah. I don't see that mom or parent bond happening immediately. Like, I don't have that 19-year-old or 20-year-old person who's just looking for that stable mentor.
Well, adding to what you were talking about with like the healthcare professionals, her brother was one of the first nurses to die from COVID. He was an NYC nurse, one of the first to contract COVID and pass away from it. So, she's got a story. She's going to, I think she's just.
I think she's going to have the most growth. I think she needs Survivor more than anybody. She's living in Indiana. I've lived there. Not a lot going on. She spent the last part of her life focused on her kids. I think she needs this Survivor to find herself. And I think it's going to be an awesome transformation no matter how long it is. I think it's a cool new chapter in her life that's going to... I think we're going to see someone even cooler than we see now. in the future.
I think she was made for a 2-tribe season.
Yeah.
I think a 3-tribe season.
Which is she's not on.
She's on the worst tribe. Like
Right?
she's on the worst tribe.
I think she was made for a 2-tribe season. I think she would survive. It's not a pity vote; it's a benefit of the doubt vote.
Mhm.
I think in another season you might have a couple votes where give them the benefit of the doubt, let them shine. Let's see what they can add. Right? It's not as obvious, open book. But on this one, you might go Omar first. But after that, I mean, I wouldn't get rid of Marianne Jackson or Lindsay or Jonathan from a challenge perspective, right? Social dynamics, who knows what's going to happen, right? We haven't seen it yet. But
I'm gonna use that, Robbie. She is a 2-tribe player on a 3-tribe season.
that's the way I look at this one. Yeah.
How many kids does she have? Do we know?
6. That's what we're saying for everybody.
Kid
Okay.
count, 6 kids.
Yeah, I think
I'm
six.
immediately judging them, like based on their stay-at-home status, how they can manage the tribe, if how many kids they have.
Any more thoughts on Mariah?
Good luck.
Once. Okay. Let's take a look at the
This
top 3
tribe-
tribe as a
Tribe's
whole.
in trouble. Tribe's in
And
trouble.
how we think they can perform.
This tribe's in
There's-
trouble.
No performance here.
I mean, if it comes to strength and if Jonathan's not there, they have literally no fighting chance.
I really feel like it's the island of misfit toys, and I really think Jonathan is screwed because I don't think they even keep him around for strength. I really don't.
That
I
could
think
be
they're
it.
like,
Please let me.
But I don't know. What was that, Trisha? Sorry.
I was just saying, Jonathan's like, please, like he's like on the first day, looking at the other tribes and seeing his tribe, and he's like, "What on earth did I do to the Survivor gods?"
what was her name? We could see Mariah really beast it up. She gives me the vibes of what's her name from the Challenge All Stars?
John A.
Janae?
No,
Oh, yeah,
season
yeah.
1.
Yeah. Her name starts with an A. We're with
Clearly
you.
not
so
important
bad at
enough
this.
because none of you remember, and I don't watch
Well,
that
no,
show. So.
we hadn't seen her in like 30 years, and then she popped up for one season. But yeah.
What I see with this tribe is, I think
she doesn't have that off-putting personality. So I think that's what makes her different from a Tiffany, from a whatever that girl's name is. Okay.
I think this
All right.
tribe is going to get wrecked, and I think 3 or 4 people are going to go, and I think Marianne is going to get set up by being without numbers into a merge where the other 2 tribes need her. And
I think Omar goes first of this. whole
yeah,
thing.
I'm hoping that this tribe gets decimated, Marianne survives, and is the boost that another group needs, and they don't see her coming.
I think Debbie, who had multiple occupations in Survivor history,
Debbie?
Debbie, Lindsay gives me like Debbie vibes. I think they had the same cast photo.
I was thinking more like Nora.
She's a
Arissa.
mix.
Thank you. deleted.
Arissa, yes. Okay.
Thank
She
you.
is a mix of Debbie and Nora.
Okay. All right. Moving on to our final
Nora.
tribe.
Okay, Kevin left just for the audience who's just listening to us. Like
Yeah,
we're not just ignoring him.
Yeah, Kevin had to drop off.
He has
we're
better
going to-
things to do.
Wrap it up talking about the Vati tribe. This is Chanel, Daniel, Jenny, Hi, Lydia, and Mike. Initial thoughts on this group?
Their faces are so fun.
Half
They're
and
all
half.
just like,
I love 3. 3 are rough.
Yeah, I've got some people on here that I got some high hopes for.
They've been doing this with all the tribes, though, right? One angry face, one like open mouth smile, like Jenny's got. The rest are kind of curious or just smiling. Every tribe has the exact same breakdown. You've got one angry looking person in every one. If you remember Drea on the first one, looking at the camera and pointing, and yeah, I don't think this is Mike. Mike, that's not Mike at all. Mike's like the most empathetic, gentle, caring human being on this tribe, and they make him look like he's a stereotype of his physical appearance. So.
So I'm pretty sure in cast photos, what they do is like they take multiple pictures, right?
Oh,
And
for
they're, like,
sure.
And so they take multiple pictures of you and they place, they can't all be doing the same thing. So they just kind of pick which one's like kind of the most what they want people to perceive you as.
So completely unrelated, going back, not Arissa, Ayana. That's who you were meaning, Frank.
Who?
Ayana from the challenge.
Challenge All Stars season 1.
I'm gonna cast a vote out there for all the viewers who don't care about the challenge at all.
Yeah, let's move on. We're on Vati.
First up on the Vati Tribe is Chanel Howell. She's 29 years old from Hamden, Connecticut. She is residing in NYC, and she is an executive recruiter. And Chanel is the one we were hinting at earlier that is well known in the online reality game community. So she's got a lot of people throwing support behind her. She's very likable, easy to get along with, smart. She's kind of the whole package.
Massive first boot vibes. No, I'm kidding.
Robbie.
Yeah, I think a force to be reckoned with this season. And it has nothing to do with the org stuff. I actually could care less if you org or not. I don't think that'll help you be better. I think just her drive, her work ethic, she's 29 and she's accomplished a lot. She just seems like a person that manifests shit to happen in her life.
Anyone that's 29 and has in their title the word executive is impressive. And not only that, but she's also a Black female. I mean, this woman has probably overcome adversity in her life. Like, I know what it's like to be a female in the corporate world. So, and I know, like, she's probably going against some other adversities. And she, just reading her bio in general, screams badass. Like, she's prepared
in every way, and it's a huge advantage. And the one flip side of that coin, if we want to play devil's advocate for a second, is somebody who's worked that hard, has negotiator training, which is a plus and a minus because you don't want to always seem like you're gaming somebody. In Survivor, a lot of times you have to invest. Give, just so you can get a payback later. Whereas in my opinion, negotiating is transactional. I'll give you this if you give me that, right? You know what I mean? Like we're making a deal right now. And as long as she doesn't start being transactional with everybody, like I'll get firewood if you're getting firewood, and I'll get this if you're like, and I know that's not what the intent of saying I'm a negotiator or I have negotiating training is. It's more about being able to be manipulative and get what you want. But she's so trained. She's read every book on how to manipulate, how to make friends, how to make good impressions, and has put so much effort into this. What's going to happen, when they flip the script, drop the 4, keep the 2 this season? How is that going to impact her if something comes up that there was nothing she could train for? I think based on what you've seen, I think she's got the mental fortitude to deal with anything. But we haven't seen it yet, right? So I'm really curious to see when the adversity hits, when it's not something you prepared for. You spent all these years training for a very specific format of game. You haven't seen 41 yet, right? Chanel hasn't seen 41. So she's coming in expecting and very, very, trained for that format. And day one is going to be, 3 tribes, 20-something days instead of 39. Now what are you going to do?
I see Chanel being really good at looking at the 5 people she has on her tribe, seeing who's talented at what, and putting together the right numbers. I think that's going to be a big advantage that she has really early that I don't think we even talk about a lot. Like knowing who's good at what and being able to build a strong team is a really good skill, and I think she'll have that. Yeah, I got high hopes. Like you do say, it is going to be interesting. This is a game that she's followed the game really closely, but this is a whole different game.
Yeah. I will not put stock in someone just because they've played orgs. Did that with Claire, did not pan out. Chanel seems like a completely different person from that, though.
I think Claire played a near flawless game, very fantastic, and other circumstances.
True.
But
I think what can happen with the orgs is I love. Okay, so not a cast of an org is not going to have a bunch of threats, really.
Right.
It's going to have maybe a couple. CBS, I feel like when you get cast for Survivor, there's something about you that radiates awesomeness to a certain extent. And I think that what's she going to do when she hits the sand and there's other people like her? Because there are Tories and Matt. There are people that have a lot of same skill set she has and are probably as prepared. So I'm curious to see how she'll handle that. I hope she doesn't play like everyone is beneath her and don't see the game like she does.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Shan. I see Shan here.
I see way better than Shan. I see way better than Shan.
I think
see a
better.
Star and coming up here in a minute, I think I can see Chanel's record. So, high hopes.
Oh, I think I see I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so moving on from Chantel, we have Daniel Struck. He is 30 years old from Cincinnati, Ohio, residing in New Haven, Connecticut, and he is a law clerk. And Daniel was actually the alternate on Millennials versus Gen X, and he was Adam Klein's alternate. So very much the Adam Klein type stereotype you might get from him. He is a cancer survivor himself.
So not his mom, like, right? Adam's mom was.
Right. But he himself is a cancer survivor. So he's been through that. He's battled through the hardest thing that a person can go through. He's an extreme Survivor fan. He's going to be able to battle it with Zach and Tori. He has spreadsheets where he keeps track of how many times he's watched an episode, his notes on the episodes, podcasts he's listened to.
He's in Stranger Things as well, right?
He is. He's the curly-headed kid.
Yeah. He's Dustin, right?
This is
Dustin. This is Dustin.
Yeah.
I think that if anybody this season is going to be able to deliver the immunity idol crazy sentence line, if anybody's going to be able to do it and it be just a normal day, it's him.
I think
normal.
I think that he is blessed to be on this tribe. He literally says multiple times, if I was in Vegas, I wouldn't bet on me. There's no chance I'm going to win this game. I've got a good story. I don't have the attributes to be a winner. I have no chance. I hope that the only way I'm going to win this is because everybody else out here is crazy, and that's how I win. He zero faith in the cards aligning for him from his own mouth, right? When you don't have confidence, it's almost freeing in a way for him though too, right? Because he can just go out and be himself. And while everybody, without the cancer story, he said he's pretty much going to hide unless someone asks him, then he'll be honest. But he also said, I'm going to be 100% honest. But on a 6-person tribe, again, we come back to the dynamics. How are you not going to have internal conflict about that? Somebody comes up and says the 3 of us should work together. Let's tell them this and we'll vote that. Immediately, day one, you have to lie. And yet your whole strategy going in was to be honest. And I feel like he's going to be another funny person, but it reminds me of an analogy where, I know this is off topic, but when you watch like war movies and there's airplanes flying in the sky, they always have to have clouds in the background. So that way you can see a reference point of how fast the planes are moving, how well they're fighting, and all of that action is happening. It gives you perspective. I think Daniel's the clouds in this season. I think he's there so we get to see how well other people are playing.
Robbie always makes me feel dumb. I'm like, I would never think about this ever.
Well, it's just a perspective thing, right? You gotta have a reference point. And I think Daniel is like, people always say, wouldn't it be nice if you had an everyday guy, everyday person in the Olympics, just so you could see how like a normal person is?
Yeah.
Right?
No, I get it. Yeah.
I think that's what Daniel is for this season. I think there's one on every tribe. I think Daniel is that for this tribe.
If he doesn't,
I've got higher hopes for him. He is very, very self-deprecating. Hopefully he finds his confidence out there, because I think that he's Adam. Like, I think that he was his alternate for a reason. And Adam kind of found himself out there, and I think that we could see that happen with him.
Yeah, I think he's an
Yeah.
interesting guy. Like he collects signed constitutions. Like it was just he's somebody that you just are never gonna see another person like him. I
Mhm.
like unique, and I think he's weird and unique. So
I think
Yeah.
he was made for a tribe of his people, and he's put on a 6-person tribe of a whole bunch of different types of people, and he's not going to be able to blend.
Okay. Any
I
more?
feel
I
well.
feel like he could be Brad's son.
My
Right?
I don't like that, Frank. Do not like that topic at all. Brad is nothing. This guy,
Brad
Daniel,
was
he's
so
nothing.
entertaining. If
Brad
you
was
didn't like
gold.
Brad on your television, then you're boring.
Bleh.
Brad was gold.
Let me
Brad
hang out
was
with Omar.
gold. Just Brad was good.
But I want to say that if Daniel does not try to grab an idol off of the podium at Tribal, cancel him. That's my final thoughts.
All right. Moving on. We have Jenny Kim. She is 43 years old, from and residing in Brooklyn, New York, and she is a creative director. And I'm going to be honest, like there was nothing about Jenny that just really stood out to me. I wrote down interesting, but I don't remember what made her interesting. So I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe it's good because she can fade in the back and people kind of forget about her and then she strikes. Or hey, you're easy to vote off.
I think she's probably one of the most all-around packages when it comes to tools and abilities. I think
Wow.
she's
Okay.
I think she's way better physically than her age. Like I would have never guessed that she's in her 40s. She looks like she could beat me up. But I guess
Yeah.
I'm creeping up on the 40s, so
I think the one point that really stood out to me was like perfectionist. I think very, very, very high standards. And Jenny mentions her upbringing was like that, where you get a 99 on a test, and what did you get wrong? Right? That's what the questions were when she would get home. Very, very high standards. And if she tries to bring that into Survivor, and you're playing with more free spirited people, maybe younger people are still finding themselves, and you're expecting the standards to be as high, and a very, very strong personality. I think you're right, Kylie, that if she can kind of fade, that's good for almost anybody. I agree. But on this tribe with Chanel and Jenny both being strong personalities, I'm really curious to see how they navigate each other when there's only 6 of them to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to work with strong personalities. And I'm curious to see how Jenny does with that.
DeLuca says that doesn't say much.
DeLucas.
Romeo could beat you up, Frank.
I'll
So,
see you in June, DeLucas. I'll show you what I'm made of.
all right.
My final thoughts on Jenny, though, really quick, are that her job title is that she's a creative director, and I'm curious to what field that's in. Like, is it like photography sets? Like, is it in fashion world? Is it modeling? Like,
I think
because
it was
she could.
more theater because I kind of feel like she said she got not fired, but she lost her job during the pandemic. And being in NYC, I picked up that it was theater. I don't know if I made that up, but that's what I think.
Because
very intrigued. I think this is my dark horse of this season.
That would give me insight into like the personalities she deals with on a regular basis, because like if she's dealing with models, for example, like then she is dealing with young people all of the time, and even photography, like there are interns regularly on these sets. Like she could be dealing with these types of personalities at all times in her regular life and be prepared to deal with them here on the island.
And if she has any role,
think that she can weld when you look at her, because she can. Like
I would not think that.
metal furniture, right?
Yeah, like she can weld. I think there's so much
She seems
to
creative.
this person. Yeah.
Like based on that.
And like I
which
said, I
is
wrote down that
just-
she was interesting, but then I couldn't remember any specifics about her.
I mean,
So
you bring up a good point though, Trisha, because if she's involved as a creative director in anything that's narrative based as well, if she spends a living trying to plant seeds from building a narrative, like if she's in theater, if she's in whatever, and I get it, creative director, I'm not really sure the specifics of that role, but if you live in a world where you learn to tell stories from the get-go and establish, a narrative, that's valuable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. It's a bunch of random, a hodgepodge of hobbies and careers that make this really intriguing.
Yeah.
okay, next up we have Chung. Sorry, hi. He's 29 years old from Atlanta, Georgia / Vietnam. And he's
Is this
currently
your
residing-
Ricard?
Do what?
Is this the Ricard you had in mind?
And he's currently residing in New Orleans, Louisiana. He is a data scientist. And yes, this is who I can see teaming up with Chantel. Is very, very smart.
Chanel.
Very self-aware. He wants to play a fluid game. He's not locked in like, oh, hey, we're an alliance. We're going to play. We're going to be final twos. But he wants to play a fluid game. And I think that fits very, very well with, the current era of Survivor. And I think he's got a leg up there. And if he can find his Shan in Chantel, I can see High doing really, really well.
yeah. I think Chanel and High might work together. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's the vibes I got off the two. Is a dynamic duo. I think that he's going to be very likable.
Yeah.
I want to be friends with him just after watching his little 1-minute clip.
So
Tons
me
of
and
charisma.
Kylie host a draft, right? Like I think that's like well known. Like we host a draft, people know that, and everyone wants High. Like everyone's like, I'm picking High. They picked him as the winner like of the season. So me coming into this, not knowing much about these people, I'm like, what is it about this guy? And I'm like, he's in some way so well perceived, even by whether it's the media, his bio, however, he is perceived very well.
I see easy merge. It's funny because when I'm thinking about High, I'm thinking about what are their chances to win. I'm not even thinking about what are their chances to make merge.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. Everybody can be wrong, right? You never know what twists are going to come up or idols. But when I see High, I just see so much value and charisma and likability that it's hard to find a reason, whether you're voting out strength or whether you're voting out, whatever, that High would be the first one you think of, right? I think High would be the guy you would go to to think together.
Yeah, I think there's some personalities that are going to be like super laser focused on the task at hand, and he's going to be more disarming, like just bouncing around the beach and, hey, why don't you come over into this conversation? We're thinking about Blindside.
And when you hear about it, his history and upbringing in his life so far, I think the word that comes to mind is resilient. Extremely resilient, and that's powerful, right? If you're going to have a week of rain and then go to tribal 3 times in that period, and you need to be able to roll with the punches, then I think High is.
So tell me, give me more context to that. So like, what do we know that he's like resilient to? Like, what is
grew up in extreme
in
poverty?
Vietnam.
Yeah. And then when he did get to the States, it was in a rough area with a lot of gang violence and stuff, and he's built himself up to have a successful
He lived in an apartment with another family.
2 families in a 1-bedroom apartment.
In a 1-bedroom apartment. And so, I mean, he's, kind of like Tiffany last season. He's literally a survivor. And so, and I even like looking at his build, I see him getting into the merge portion and doing well in challenges. I
think whenever you come from poverty and then get into a successful career, you've dealt with so many demographics and different types of people. It gives you a leg up on interaction and getting people to buy in and trust you.
Yeah, and High's another person on this tribe that I think is going to be able to provide. I think I could see a lot of people on this tribe going out and fishing, climbing trees to get food, right? Going out to get papayas or whatever. Like I can see, or whatever's out there, breadfruit. I could see a lot of food coming in here. Where with the other tribes, I don't see a lot of the physicality that I see on this tribe. I think there's a lot of innate characteristics that are going to come out that are going to benefit this tribe. I think this might be the Luvu tribe, but I don't really know yet, obviously. But I see a lot of benefits to this tribe.
All right. Any other thoughts? Okay, moving on. We have Lydia Meredith. She is 22 years old from Fredericksburg, Virginia, residing in Santa Monica, and she is a waitress. So Lydia, she's very young. I don't have a lot of thoughts on Lydia.
Just innocent is the vibes I get. Just super innocent.
Yeah.
That or ridiculously conniving. I'm like, I can't tell. I can't tell if it's just naive.
Have you seen what
innocence
she's wearing?
or
She's not conniving.
but that's
People in Hawaiian shirts are not conniving.
Okay,
It just
Robbie, you
it's not
say conniving. She wants to play like Tom Westman because he played an honest game.
Yeah,
So,
I just
That's also
don't
a
see it.
lie. She just said that to fool us.
I don't know, man. I don't know, but she said that she wants to be the little sister on the tribe for people, and kind of float under the radar and go under people's wings. And we'll see the one remaining person on this tribe that is actually looking to be extremely empathetic and emotional. So I think Lydia might have an ally on this tribe, and whether or not Lydia is willing to axe those people to survive or not, I think yet to be seen. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of high hopes for Lydia, but I don't have any negatives either. Right? There's nothing that's just other than the fact that she's just young and apparently naive and gentle.
I think Lydia, based on what y'all are saying, is the GOAT of the season, and she just gets carried all the way as far as possible because she's beatable.
Frank, any more thoughts on Lydia? Because I just don't have a lot. I didn't get a lot
Nah,
from
this
her.
is. If Kevin was still sleeping in the waiting room, this is when I was gonna bring him in.
All right, so moving on to our very last survivor contestant to look at. This is Mike Turner. He is 58 years old. He does not look it, from Hoboken, New Jersey, and he is a retired firefighter. And Mike is a personality.
Philip Shepard.
He's loud.
Oh,
and
no,
he's
he's not.
really fun. He kind of gives you some Tony vibes, and that
No.
maybe could be a little chaotic. Yes, I get Tony vibes from him.
I get Philip Shepard vibes, not Tony vibes at all. Not Tony.
I like Mike a lot. He said that he's like a combination of Ty and Tony. So Ty being this sympathetic figure, and Tony being chaos. Put them together, and here's Mike. Robbie, what are you?
Yeah, I was waiting for Frank to just kind of disagree with all of that, but I agree with everything that you just said. Half of it because it's literally facts of what he said, but the other half is the fact that he's obviously a physical specimen. He's in great shape. We don't know what the cardio is, right? We haven't actually seen this guy run. He's 58, so I mean, if he's all muscle and no cardio, it's not going to last very long on Survivor. But but he's not a beast, right? He's not 6'6". I don't know how tall he is, but he's definitely not as tall as Big John. And that's a benefit, right? Having somebody who can do well in challenges but isn't so astronomically intimidating, that's a good thing. But he admitted that he's overly emotional. And not in an aggressive or angry way. He says, I know I look like somebody who should be, angry and rough and whatnot. He said, but no books are exactly on the inside what they appear to be on the outside, right? No books exactly match their cover. And he's going to try to show that to people, but not have them find out, which is a weird thing to be walking that line, where he wants people to know he's a caring human being, but he doesn't want to show that he's an overly emotional, caring human being.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think he's going to do good. I think he's got value to his tribe. And
I think he'll do as good as Brad.
The only thing that gives me pause is his age, and he is the oldest cast member. There's no men really in his age bracket at all. I guess the closest is probably Roxroy.
What's Roxroy, like 44, I think?
Yeah, I mean, he's
Yeah.
significantly older. Like, he could be Rox's father.
But he's
Um,
also a firefighter, so I'm like, I think that does show that he has good cardio because you carrying all that gear, you have to do an air, like a breathing test to be able to
Yeah, but
like
if you're
do
at
that
the end of your
job.
career and you've
he's a
inhaled a lot
retired
of smoke, then it depends on how much smoke he's inhaled through his career because his lungs could be
I mean, and
garbage.
he could be retired for 15 years. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy could have blown his knees out and can't run. We
Yeah.
don't know it. We don't know any of this stuff yet. But no, I think it's an interesting combination. I think Mike is going to be able to play the game Jonathan wants to play, where he's going to be able to work into his tribe and show other value other than physicality without being this apparent physical threat. Whereas Jonathan is just, like I said, a beast, so you can't hide. Where I think if someone's going to be able to hide and still be physical between those two, I think Mike has a better chance of doing that.
Yeah. I've got high hopes for Mike.
And I want to know, like, when he says he's overly emotional, does he mean like he's overly emotional for like everybody, or is he like overly emotional for what he is expected to be based on
He's
his looks?
empathetic and cries
Like
at
Ty.
things, and
Like, think
yes,
of
he
sweet
cares
little
about life
Ty
and
that
human
wouldn't kill
beings.
the
And
chickens. Ty Trong from
Yeah.
Circumstances and
Yeah.
Korong.
yeah, when I
Yeah.
first heard him say I'm overly emotional, I was guilty of reading a book by its cover because I'm like, oh my God, if this guy goes in there and he's super like Rodney, right? Just like
Yes.
emotional in a bad
Yes.
way, gets aggressive, offended, like on my birthday, you're going to make me eat rice on my
Yeah.
birthday. But he's the opposite. He's almost like, I don't want people to see how much I care.
Like
Yeah.
he's such a teddy bear, it seems
Yeah.
like. Which he
Yeah.
could give like that dad vibe, and maybe, if he gets to tribe swap or at merge even, he could be that like father type where you like vibe with them and you're like, I want to keep them around because they make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, and this ties into the statement I made earlier where each of the three tribes has that parent figure. And Mike is that parent figure, and he literally has someone on here who says she wants to play like the little sister, the young kid.
Yeah.
I get the crazy uncle vibes. I don't get the fatherly vibes. I get crazy uncle vibes.
Maybe that's it. Maybe Lydia will be like his niece that he's trying to protect, right? I don't know, but I see that happening really quickly. If she's trying to be all innocent and he's out there emotional, feels for her innocence and says, "Okay, I'm going to protect you. Come vote with me. I'll keep you safe," and then hurts himself if they want.
And then she blindsides him.
Right, and that's what I said earlier. Can she cut the person who's trying to protect her? I don't
Because
know.
she's in a Hawaiian shirt and she's manipulating us all.
Yeah, it's like he puts her under his wing, but now she's closer to stabbing him in the heart,
flips
right?
it.
So
Okay, are we ready to look at this tribe as a whole? The Vati Tribe. I think it's different every time. Do y'all see the winner here? Because I do.
I think I do.
I'm not saying a name because I don't want.
Yeah, I'm not giving away any
Well,
information.
I mean, you guys are still high on Chanel. You guys might all just say that you just love Chanel, but I see three people on this tribe that I would say I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to Final 5, Final 4, and at that point, it's a coin toss on what relationships you've made.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Dustin is still alive and it is season 4 of Stranger Things. So, and he does a lot of shit in that show. So
He can
Oh,
survive.
so you're
anything.
saying Daniel will make it to merge?
Daniel's going to make it to season 4 of Stranger Things.
But you know what? We're joking about people surviving. I think I said earlier, right? Daniel is fortunate to be on this tribe because I see a lot of people here who are physical enough that I think their average in physicality and challenge performance, their average will be higher than the other tribes. And I think that will be enough.
Well, I feel like us saying their average will be higher is like so easy to say that in comparison to the Orange Tribe. That tribe, I mean, is just a shit show. Like, we don't even have to rehash them, but like this tribe, I feel like is really like a family unit. Like they kind of have it all. They have like, the dad, they have like the dysfunctional Lydia is just kind of finding her way in the world, and like they have Daniel who's like, I'm a law clerk and I kind of know like what's going on in my life, but I'm also kind of quirky, and they have it all, I think.
All right. So we'll make our official first boot and winner picks after we do our draft, but it is that time. Unfortunately, Kevin had to drop out, and he is the defending champion. So Yeah. Bad luck for you, Kevin. And he had pre-selected our order for tonight, and I am up first. This will be a snake draft. We'll go through it as quickly as we can.
So what's the
there's
order?
three
Can
of
you go,
us.
can you go over the order again?
Kevin's not here, so Kylie will go first, then Patricia, then myself, then you. Kevin put you last.
Okay, now I get to go twice, obviously.
So we each
Yeah,
get
and
four
then on the
people?
way back, little snake.
Yeah. Okay. So we're each getting 4. Nope. Bad at the math. The audience, y'all will be getting a couple that are left over. Okay. So
Yeah, we should get 4, right? Yeah, I think so.
you'll
Yeah,
each
and
get
I will be
4.
keeping track, and then I'll show the finished results of who's got what team at the
Okay.
end.
So first, with me, I am going to take my winner pick. Hi.
Oh, nice. I love this moment. I love the feeling when you're waiting to see what name they say.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And then you're like, God damn.
But are you dragging a picture or like how does
I'm
this?
keeping. Yeah, I can't update the slide that's showing, so I'm updating a separate slide, and then I'll.
Okay.
So
So
share
I'm
that.
taking Hi. Hi is off the board.
Got it. Okay.
On to you, Patty.
Patricia. All right. So just want to preface this with this was my raw reaction of learning the cast was literally from you guys plus Kevin, and it's been a great time. I feel like I've gotten to know them very well. So I'm gonna go with none other. Also, I have drafted my team in our actual draft, and this person is on my team. So I'm really excited to draft my girl, Chantel Chanel from the Green Tribe.
Whatever. Chanel off the board. Great pick. Okay.
Well, I
Here's the
hate
spring.
both
I love
of you
it.
guys because those were my first 2 picks.
Yeah,
I cannot believe
agreed.
that, Frank.
Agreed, Frank. Agreed.
Um,
I think they were pretty straightforward there.
I'm gonna have to go. Well, Tori. We're gonna go with Tori from our Blue Tribe.
Okay. Tori. Off the board. And this brings us to Rami. Robbie, you get 2 choices.
Yes, I do. And then I have to wait forever. Yeah. I'm going to go with Mike.
Okay. Mike?
Mike from the Green Tribe?
Yeah.
We're drafting the whole Green Tribe right now.
Robbie, I did not see that pick coming.
I didn't
Yep.
either. I'm
I
really
did.
confused by that one.
Yep. And I'm going to go with man, I'm torn. I'm going to say Drea.
Andrea. Okay.
Right on. So it's back to me. This is tough.
It's hard because we're not trying to pick who makes it the furthest. We're trying to pick who can win.
Yeah.
And that's what gets tricky. Yeah. There's no points for getting 4th.
Oh, so tough. I'm gonna go. My thing is like trying to figure out who you guys are picking next because it's gonna be a minute before somebody comes back to me, and I think if I pick the wrong person, they're not gonna come back to me.
Dude, I gotta wait.
I'm
for
gonna
all
go
these
with
twice,
Jenny.
So let's just.
I'm gonna go with Jenny.
Okay.
I've got some vibes. I think she can do it.
Okay.
Patricia.
And to you, Trisha.
So my next pick originally was Drea. So screw you, Robbie, for that
Eat
one.
shit.
I really loved her and think she does go far. So next pick am torn between 2 people heavily.
Don't pick the one that I want to pick.
I don't know who it is. So I don't know who it is, or I would definitely pick them.
She wants
So-
Mariah, right?
I'm gonna go with
That's definitely a prank.
It is. It's Mariah. That's who she wants.
Roxroy. Because I think my other one will still be here on the next round.
All right, Kylie. Two
Okay.
picks.
My next one is not Mariah. My next one is Marianne. Got good vibes from her. Think she's here for a while. Hopefully the whole while. Okay. Oh, now this is where it starts getting to the nitty-gritty.
The needy greedy.
Oh gosh, there's some really bad people.
For you Survivor fans, we're not saying that wrong. That is a challenge reference. Sorry. Sorry, Robbie.
Okay, because I like her, here I will take Mariah.
Mariah. All right, Patricia.
All right, so my boy is still here. I'm gonna go with Stranger Things 4, our boy Dustin Daniel from the
Nice.
Green Tribe. Let's go.
Clouds. Can we start calling them clouds?
All right. I'm going to take this person because I believe Robbie is going to take this person next. So
That is evil.
I'm going to take Zach.
You son of a bitch. All right. So now do I end it with 2 picks?
No.
No, you get your last. You end your existence
You're
in this
done
draft.
after this.
That's what I'm talking about. I end it with 2 picks
Yeah,
right
you
for me.
end
Like right
your-
now.
But then it goes back through all of us.
Okay. God damn, you took Zach. I totally wanted him right now.
This is a shit round. There's
Only
no one good
one
left.
left from the Green Tribe. Only one left.
So many left from the Orange Tribe. The whole Orange Tribe is left.
We have
Yeah, I gotta pick 2, right?
60% from the Orange Tribe.
So this
There's
is
only
getting
one taken from the Orange Tribe.
this is getting a
There
little
are 2.
tricky. This is getting a little tricky to pick 2.
I mean, one's taken from the Orange Tribe, right? Only
2.
Oh no, 2 are taken. You're right.
Kylie, you got 2
Both
off
of
the
them.
one.
All right, I'll take I'll take Swathi.
Okay.
And I will take Lydia.
Lydia?
Yeah.
All right. That brings us back to me and my winning tribe. Now, this is tough. I got Jonathan. I just don't think he can make it to the end.
It's so hard not
at
to have him on
all.
your team, though.
It's so hard not to, because with this season, if he makes it to the individual, he could win everything.
Well, put it this way: if the season was down to the people left, then yeah.
Yeah. I'm. Do I go with? The question is, at this point, it's just who am I taking that's going to piss off Patricia and Kylie, and I have a feeling that.
No one you take is going to
Lindsay-
piss me off.
I feel like you guys want to scoop up Lindsay on this last round.
There's no one I feel
So-
passionate about.
So for the fans, the only options that are left are Romeo, Jonathan, Lindsay, Jackson, and
Omar.
Omar.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lindsay.
That's not who I wanted.
Me either. I was never going to draft her.
Never.
Then you're going to go with Jackson?
I'm actually going to go with the person whose job title I want the most out of this whole cast, which is to sell beach chairs. I'm going to go with my boy and his one little insert whatever they're actually called, not baby dreads, Jonathan.
Padawan braid.
Padawan braid.
Padawan Jonathan.
Padawan
May the force
braid
be with you.
Jonathan.
All right. And obviously,
You gotta go
rounding
Jackson.
it out,
You gotta go
I'm
Jackson.
going to take someone that I think y'all might be sleeping on a little bit.
Oh god.
Friend of the podcast, Omar.
Oh, nice.
Omar.
Okay.
I didn't
Omar's
even
a
expect him to
hater.
go in this draft.
So that is who I'm going to take to round out my team. That means fans, you are left with Jackson and Romeo. And last season, we left the fans Tiffany and Heather. So
Good. We
you're
left
on
it.
Yeah,
track
you
very
guys
good.
won last year. All
I
right,
would
let's
take a
pull it
Jackson
up.
over Omar any day. I feel like Omar is first boot.
Hey, he's Canadian
Can
and he
we
got
bet on first
drafted, so he's
boot?
got a chance.
Can we bet on first boots real quick? Who's the
Ooh.
first boot? Let's bet on that really quick. Like, let's see who we think the first boot is.
Romeo.
Omar.
I think Romeo will be the first boot.
The Orange Tribe is going to tribal first. Why are we even
This
picking
is the
other
question,
tribes?
right? Do you think Ika can pull out? I think Ika is going to pull out the first win if two go to two. Sorry, if two are safe. So yeah, if I had to pick somebody from Taku, Mariah. Gone.
Mariah?
First boot. Sorry, Mom, we don't need you. You're gone.
That's a hot take.
Literally hate you. Okay, so to sum it up, my team, the winners, Hi, Marianne, Mariah, and Omar. And Trisha's team, Chanel, Roxroy, Daniel, and Jonathan. Frank has Tori, Jenny, Zach, and Lindsay. And Robbie has Mike, Drea, Swathi, and Lydia. So there are our teams. Fans, you are left with Jonathan and Romeo,
Jackson.
Jackson and Romeo. Jonathan, Jackson, same difference.
I got a good vibes about my team.
That's because you're a fool.
See, the thing is that you only have to have the winner. So I've already got him. I drafted him first. So
That
my
was a
official
really
winner
solid
pick
pick.
is High. Frank, winner pick?
My winner pick, I think High has got if anybody's got all the tools and the life experience, I think it's High. And individual immunity, I think really good build for individual immunities.
Robbie.
Well, I refuse to pick a winner that's not on my team, and I think this person has a really good chance. So I'm going to go with Drea.
Okay.
I know. I love Drea. I am between Drea and Chanel. And so since Robbie's going to go with that mentality, I'll go with mine, and I'm going to pick Chanel as my winner pick for this season. Yeah, and High, everyone's high on High.
Yes. High
My
on
dark
Mars,
horse
that's
would
what
be
we are.
Jenny, though. Jenny's my dark horse.
Yeah, okay.
That's a thought. All right. So that is the cast of Survivor season 42. I'm actually really excited about it. I think that there's a lot of people here that have a lot of potential to be good players. And ultimately, that's all I care about. I just want a good, exciting season, lots of good gameplay, good television. That's all you can hope for. Any other final thoughts, y'all?
No.
I'm just, glad that it's season 42 and not season 41 like I thought it was. And like I've really learned a lot about this cast. So thank y'all. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
excited.
excited
I
to see
just
our
hope,
predictions.
I hope that the fan base is a little more chilled since we're going to be more used to what's happening in this game. So hopefully we can just enjoy it a little more and look to better things to come in the future. I do think CBS, you need to step it up. The rest of the world is doing really, really well in the reality TV genre. So Step
So
it up,
with
Jeff.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for 42, and it's great because we as fans get to, we get to watch from perspective of we know this format, we know what's coming, but now we get to watch them experience it for the first time, and that's a dynamic that we haven't had before, a perspective that we haven't had. So it's kind of like we know the tricks, and Jeff kind of showed us the behind the scenes last season a little bit. It's like, here's what's coming up, and they have no idea, and we kind of have that for the whole season right now because we already know the general types of twists that are coming up. So I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to being here weekly and breaking down the episodes as we go, and seeing who here looks like a fool, Frank, and who was right.
Well,
if
I look like a fool, I might not be doing the weekly recap, so you can message me that I'm a fool.
All right.
I have one final thought really quick,
Uh-huh.
that our last season winner was from Canada. Shout out Robbie, and Canadians. And I just want to say that, like, as being a Texan and not that close to the Arctic Circle, that I do think they have a leg up. They don't need Natalie Cole's jacket because they're like freezing at all times, and they go to Fiji and it rains a little bit and they don't have to worry about the elements so much. I'm like, they're just built for this. So they have a leg up there. I think a Canadian over any American, especially, unfortunately, someone from the South, such as Jonathan or our Texans that are there, do have a bit of a leg up because they don't need Natalie Cole's jacket.
And that's why I should be cast, because I would dominate this game. Okay.
Robbie would dominate this game.
He'd wear a blue robe, and
I'd have to strip layers off to cool down while everybody else is whining about how cold it is. So
Yeah, Robbie sent me a picture one day, and he had icicles hanging from his beard. So
so Canadian of you.
All right. So, Trisha, anything to plug?
I don't think so, because I don't actually know what's going on at any point in my life.
Gotcha. Frank, anything to plug?
No, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. As soon as Kylie and myself finish Australian Big Brother season 12, that's on Paramount Plus. As soon as we both start and finish it, we're going to do a 1-episode binge-worthy reality breakdown for that season. It's so entertaining. I've fallen in love with it. It's a fresh perspective on a game that I grew up loving, Big Brother. And what's different is at the end, at Final 3, the fans actually decide. So giving the fans a little power, I can appreciate that. And hopefully we'll do a game night here soon. It's just been a struggle doing that with moving and relocating, and with our team expanding, it's made scheduling a little rockier, but we will definitely deliver on that for you guys.
Robbie, anything to plug?
I mean, just stuff that's going on the channel. I mean, I'm excited. Everything's, picking up. We got Big Brother Canada going on. We got some breakdowns of that popping up on the channel. We have more Survivor content obviously coming. Soon we'll have the Circle content coming up as well. So I'm excited. Things are picking back up again. And it's going to be fun to talk.
So with that, we will be back. Me, Sheldon, Josh, and we will have a special guest, Suzette, from season 1 of BB Can to recap the episode of BB Can 10 on Tuesday at 8 Eastern. And then we will be back Thursday with our first Survivor premiere recap. And that will also be at 8 Eastern. And then Friday, Josh and Sheldon will be back on with the wrap up of the week of BB Can 10. So those are the things that we have coming down the chute. Yes, Frank?
Also, if you guys are close to Louisville, Kentucky on Wednesday and you want to go to a Survivor premiere party, Fair Play and Bischoff are hosting one at Play Louisville. It's my favorite bar I've ever been to, and the owner's a big fan of Survivor, so it's a great environment to go to a party.
Will you be there, Frank?
I will be there. I'm driving 10 hours from Little Rock. I used 3 days of vacation so I can have a nice long weekend, and I will be
signing
partying
autographs.
it up.
So y'all hit him up. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and drop us a comment. Tell us who you think is going to win Survivor 42. Tell us who you think is going to win our fun little draft here and why it's me. And also make sure that you are subscribing to the podcast on all podcast platforms so you can, listen to us on the go. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.